From Mount Union Stadium in Alliance, Ohio, it's time for NCAA Division III football. Hello there, everybody. I'm Harry Patus, and along with Joe Tate, we're going to be bringing you all of the action of this semifinal contest between the host Mount Union College Purple Raiders and the visiting Bridgewater College Eagles. This is a semifinal contest for the NCAA Division III championship. The winner goes on to the Stag Bowl next week in Salem, Virginia. And Joe Tate, these two teams have met before, and we anticipate that we're going to have a game not unlike the 30-27 win Mount Union had in 2001.
It took a tremendous game by Chuck Moore to get the Mount Union Purple Raiders into the win column in that particular Stag Bowl. And this, of course, is a team, Bridgewater, that avenged its only loss of the season to Christopher Newport in the playoffs. So they are on a roll. They have some outstanding people. I know one guy we're going to keep an eye on today is number 99, Jermaine O'Neal. He's a senior linebacker from Miramar, Florida, and the scouting report on him is he does everything but drive the bus.
And a lot of excellent athletes on the Bridgewater team. Mount Union, of course, has won 54 consecutive games. That is tied for the best streak ever by any college football team, and that streak was the 1996 through 99 Mount Union team. So they're trying to break their own streak and put this game in the history books.
And of course, it was in the semifinal game of the NCAA Division III playoffs. That streak ended in overtime against Rowan College.
Right here at Mount Union Stadium, almost to the day. That's right, a 24-17 loss to Rowan in overtime. And what has happened here during the pregame, we had the coin flip, and Bridgewater, which prides itself in its defense. That's all you've been hearing, is they allow just 2 yards per carry throughout the season. They won the toss and elected to put their defense on the field first. They deferred and will be kicking from south to north here at Mount Union Stadium.
And we don't have anywhere near the wind today that we've had in previous playoff games here at Mount Union. In fact, as I speak, the flagpole shows the flag just hanging on the standard.
So we're set to go, and Mount Union will have what little wind there is as we begin this semifinal contest. Joe?
Kyle Beach drives it downfield. It's picked up at the 15 and racing down the sideline and still on his feet. But he is finally out of bounds up at the 44-yard line. It was Mike Miller who took it from his own 15 up to the 44-yard line, where it will be 1st and 10 for Mount Union.
Taking a look at the Mount Union offense, Zach Bruni at quarterback with fullback Brian Miller, Jeff Strauch at the running back spot. The receivers are Knapp and Sirianni. Tight end is John Healy. They'll be rotating tight ends, however. Momorovic, the left tackle, and then Miller, Wilson, Bradley, and Kennard round out the offensive line for the Raiders.
Zach Bruni quarterbacks here at the outset of the ball game. He'll be working out of the shotgun. He sends Sirianni very wide to the right. In the backfield, the give is to Strauch, and he drives up over the 45 to the 47, 48-yard line. They'll spot it at the 47. That's a pickup of about 4. It'll be second, actually about 7.
And this is the Bridgewater defense with Hoover, Fearson, Jones, and Garvin up front. The linebackers are Taylor, Nelson, and Moore. And the secondary, White, Hunt, Bradshaw, Herndon. Didn't have to rehearse too many of those pronunciations like we did in the lacrosse game.
Now the Bridgewater defense, a vaunted defense. Bruni back to test it with a pass. And Knapp was held up a little bit coming downfield and couldn't get to the vicinity of the ball, so it'll be 3rd down and 7 yards to go.
As will be the case most of the afternoon, I suspect. Knapp had 3 white jerseys around him as Bruni had the time to throw. Bridgewater dropped back in coverage and ball was overthrown. You're right, Knapp had a bump with one of the members of the secondary and couldn't get to the ball.
Coming out wide to the right is Joe Bagara. Knapp also to the right side. Bruni back. He looks, he fires a strike downfield, and it is intercepted down at the 16-yard line.
Yep.
Bridgewater makes the first defensive play of the day, and Stuart White, the senior out of Woodbridge, Virginia, made the grab, and it is now Bridgewater with the ball, 1st and 10.
Well, Sirianni was one-on-one with White, and Bruni decided to air it out, but White got excellent position here. Single coverage on Sirianni, and he makes the pick.
1st and 10 for Bridgewater at their own 16-yard line. Quarterback is Brandon Wakefield, 5'11", 175 from Chesapeake, Virginia.
Wakefield, Matthews, and Washington the backs, and then we go to the offensive line, Bud, Newman, Burnett, and Whitaker, and Earl.
Quick pitch knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Johnny Joseph hammered that one to the turf, and it will be 2nd and 10.
Defensively, Mount Union with McElhaney, Ludwig, Dillard, and Joseph up front. Linebackers are Freight, Spizak, and Buckler. And the secondary, Miller, Watson, Doak, and Capone.
Bridgewater made a last-minute change in their backfield. Eric Spence is running from the fullback spot. Wakefield on 2nd and 10. Hands to the tailback and driving outside is Marcus Washington. He picks up about 5 yards on the play, and it will be 3rd down and 5 yards to go. The ball spotted up at the 22, so give him a gain of 6, and it will be 3rd down and 4 yards to go.
Washington is the guy that Mount's going to have to watch in terms of the backfield. They like to throw the ball too, but Marcus Washington up close to 1,000 yards rushing for the season. Picks up about 5 on that play, 3rd down.
Coming out very wide to the right is Brian Awkward, sophomore wide receiver. Wakefield back to throw. Throws across the middle. Caught there by Douglas Napier, and Napier goes all the way up to the 37-yard line before being knocked out of bounds on the near side of the field by Tony Buckler, and that will make it 1st and 10 for the Bridgewater Eagles.
Napier comes in with 25 catches for 345 yards, but the key to that, take a look at this protection. Excellent job up front as the Raiders getting nowhere near the quarterback, which allows the receiver Napier to come over and make the catch and pick up the 1st down.
Spence and Washington remain the setbacks. And Wakefield keeps the ball, trying to turn the corner. He spins over the 40 up to the 41-yard line. He is caught over there on the far side of the field. The tackle made by Ross Watson. Pick up with the play of a good solid 5 yards.
Wakefield's numbers as far as passing, 158 for 309, 2,200 yards, 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
12 minutes and 43 seconds to play in the 1st quarter. Mount's opening drive ended in an interception, and now Bridgewater headed the other way up to their own 43-yard line, actually the 42. 2nd down, 5 yards to go. Wakefield airs it out again, throws a strike at the 49-yard line, caught while on the ground by Napier, and it's good for a 1st down.
Wakefield kept it low. Napier went down to get it, and it results in the 2nd 1st down of this drive, and Bridgewater showing that they can move the ball against this Raider defense. Nothing wrong with the coverage, but just a nice catch by Napier.
And again, Napier goes out to the far side. Nicholas Lato on the near side. Turn in the backfield, and they give to Spence, and Spence bowls his way to the Mount Union 45-yard line.
And a lot of that was just power running by Spence, pushing the line forward, picking up about 5 yards. The middle, I think Bridgewater felt would be a place they'd have a little trouble running, so they opened things up in this drive by throwing the ball and going wide, but they go with their first one between the tackles and pick up 5 yards.
Ball resting right at the Mount Union 45-yard line. 2nd down, 4 yards to go. Single setback behind Wakefield. He throws again over the middle and dropped by Spence coming out of the backfield. It was one of those, I've got it, now what should I do with it, before he actually had it.
Kept his eyes, had he kept his eyes on the football, he'd have had the 1st down and more, but had it, looked up, and dropped it. But it was a good play. It was open.
with a 3rd and 4. They take out Spence and bring in an extra wide receiver, number 14, Brett Colbert. He is slotted to the left side. Double slot formation as Wakefield is back on a 3rd and 4. Tucks it in, and as he's hit, he throws it into the Mount Union bench. It'll be 4th down and 4 yards to go.
So the Raiders coming up big on the 3rd down play. Jesse Wells, I think, was the man who was in on Wakefield to force the bad pass. Looks like he has the time, good coverage downfield, and it's Wells who comes in from the left side to force the throw out of bounds.
So punt time. This is Patrick King, a sophomore, doing the punting for Bridgewater. Too deep for Mount Union back at the 10-yard line. The punt is a spiral shot down to the 11. Taken at the 11-yard line, running to the far side of the football field is Jason Cavell, and he is able to get to the 18-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 10, so Mount Union holds and they get the ball back.
Well, Raiders, like they did last week against Wheaton, went 3 and out on a first possession, and now find themselves at their own 19. And let's see, did we insert Burghardt into the lineup as the alternating quarterback? Indeed, it is Jesse Burghardt.
Brony is number 8, Burkhardt's number 12. He too works out of the shotgun. Back to throw it, has the time, fires a strike. It's caught by Sirianni up at the 30-yard line, and that will be 1st down and 10 yards to go.
Raiders throwing early in this ball game. Sirianni, 37 catches, 762 yards, 10 touchdowns. Another look as Burghardt gets the time and threads the needle.
1st and 10 for Mount Union. Sirianni comes out to the left. 𝘗𝘬𝘓 out wide to the right. Pass to the far side, caught up at the 35-yard line. The catch made coming out of the backfield, Brian Miller, and it will be 2nd down and 5 yards to go just across the 35-yard line.
Burghardt coming into this game with 64 completions, 92 attempts, 1,152 yards, and 14 touchdowns. Raiders have had 1 running play so far. Want to throw it.
2nd and 5. Well, they respect big number 99, Jermaine Taylor, who's a real force on the run. And here comes the run, and driving is Sprout, and he is able to get a yard or 2, but that's about it.
They were blitzing from the left side defensively, and the Raiders came the other way, but still, good job by Bridgewater to stop Sprout, go after just a couple-yard gain.
So it's 3rd down and about 3 yards to go. We've got 9:50 and counting in the 1st quarter, a ball game that is scoreless here at Mount Union. Sirianni coming out of the ball game. Knapp goes out wide to the right. Burkhardt under center. And there's a flag as we'll wait to see whether it was drawn off or encroachment.
I think this is going to be encroachment. Didn't see an offensive lineman flinch, and if so, it's going to be a 5-yard penalty against Bridgewater, 1st down for Mount Union. Yep, it is.
Well, when you're playing a tough ball club like the Bridgewater Eagles, you take them any way you can get them, Harry.
That's for sure. The game officials for this afternoon come from the CCIW. Mike Walpe is the umpire, Brad Brooks the field judge, Grady Smith is the head linesman, Brian Bollinger is the line judge, Jim Disney is the side judge, and Doug Coddington is an alternate.
The ball moves from the 37 to the 42 on the 5-yard penalty, and Mount Union has a 1st and 10. Knapp and 𝘗𝘬𝘓, Sirianni all out to the right side. Burghardt from the shotgun. He has some time, looks it over. Now he's going to run with the ball and makes it across the 45 and out of bounds at the 48-yard line.
Good coverage downfield, but Burghardt didn't try to force anything, and Mount Union has the luxury of a couple of quarterbacks who are fast on their feet, and Burghardt wisely decided to tuck it away and pick up the yardage that way.
2nd down, 4 yards to go.
There's another look. Burghardt looking all across the field, but there aren't any black jerseys that have broken free, and so he takes off for 6 yards.
Knapp out wide to the left. Burkhardt back. Fires to the far side. It is caught by Sirianni. He's wrestled out of bounds down at the Bridgewater 40-yard line. The tackle made to the far side by Stuart White.
Well, it looks like, at least in the early going, Bridgewater is taking their chances having Sirianni with single coverage. They've got Knapp pretty well bottled up, and Burkhardt finds him on the out pattern, and he picks up enough for the first down.
Ball spotted at the Bridgewater 41-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. Turn of the backfield, give to Strauch. He gets great second effort. He was stood up right at the line and managed to plunge forward for an extra 2 or 3 yards.
Mount needs to show that they can run on Bridgewater. Strauch now with his second carry.
They put the ball down at the 37-yard line, so it's a pickup of 4, second and 6.
Larry Karras's record on the graphic there speaks for itself. 204 wins, 17 losses, 3 ties, a .917 winning percentage.
Knapp and Sirianni to the right. Back to pass, Burkhardt throws it down the middle. Knapp got it down at the goal line, or did they say he bobbled the ball when he hit the deck, so it's an incomplete pass.
Wow.
He had it for the moment, but couldn't stay with it, and they'll bring it back.
Well, this is a beauty from Burkhardt to Knapp. It's thrown right where it needs to. Let's take another look. Did the ground cause this, or did he bobble before he hit?
Well,
I thought he had it. Let's take another look. Let's see if the end zone camera helps us. Wow. Pretty questionable, but nonetheless, it's 3rd and 4. Or 5, I guess it is.
And it's Burkhardt, a little flare pass out to Miller at the 35. He's at the 30, at the 25, and the 20, and down inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. A first down for the Mount Union Purple Raiders.
It's the beauty of the Purple Raiders. They don't sulk about things. You know, they thought they might have been down by the goal line, but they come right back with a little flare out to Miller. Great blocking in front, and Miller runs it down to the 20.
They'll put it just inside the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Knapp to the right, Sirianni to the left. 31, John Healy goes into the slot on the right side. Burkhardt in the backfield, he's going to keep it. Slants off right tackle down to the 15 and to the 14-yard line. Picks up about 5 or 6 on that play, and it will be 2nd down and about 4 yards to go, maybe 5 as they spot the ball at the 15. So make it 2nd and 5.
He's a little upset with himself because he was tackled around the ankle, but Chris Johnson saved the touchdown, just grabbing that ankle and making Burkhardt fall off balance.
Miller, the lone setback with Burkhardt. He goes in motion, and now flags fly all over the football field. That stops things with 7:13 to play here in the first period. And this is going to be an illegal motion against Mount Union, and that will push them back to the 20-yard line, to the original line of scrimmage.
Mount Union students just finishing up finals have hung around to watch the Purple Raiders and hopefully earn a trip to Salem, Virginia.
Probably why they have that relieved look on their faces. They have finished their finals.
Well, it might be relief, but
either that or perplexed. I'm not sure which.
The grades aren't in yet, Joe.
I always had perplexed on my face. Sirianni and Knapp to the left. Back goes Burkhardt. Gets away from one. Now he's going to run it. Directing traffic at the 15, at the 10, hit from behind. Ball loose down to the 5-yard line, and Bridgewater may have recovered.
They did. Coming up with it was Anthony Hunt. Ball was poked from behind, and Hunt, who was in the end zone still in coverage, happened to be at the right place at the right time. And Bridgewater, which has an excellent turnover ratio, has forced Mount Union into 2 turnovers here in the first 2 possessions by the Raiders.
And Harry, the man who made the hit that dislodged the ball, number 99, Jermaine Taylor. has great pursuit here.
Yeah, he comes from behind. Burkhardt has enough of the ball showing, and the ball gets poked from behind, and heads up recovery by Anthony Hunt.
1st and 10 from the 4-yard line, and Spence drives up over the 5 to about the 7.
There's the turnover situation right now. Mount Union not favorable to the Purple Raiders, but Bridgewater does this to teams. And they've come into Mount Union Stadium here in the first quarter and tried to establish that this defense is for real.
2nd down and 7 yards to go. The ball between the 7 and 8-yard line. 𝘬𝘁 comes out wide to the right. And Colbert wide to the left. Wakefield in the backfield, hands off and driving ahead up over the 10 to the 12. But there is a flag on this play. Flag thrown back at the line of scrimmage.
Have to wait on this one. This could be about anything. It was a side judge who threw it. Illegal shift against Bridgewater.
It shows 2nd down and 7. We'll see what Mount Union decides to do. The line is up over the 14.
Head coach of Bridgewater, Mike Clark, in his 9th season, 57-42-1. He's a Youngstown native, grew up in the Cincinnati area, so this is not necessarily strange territory for him.
Well, the umpire has the ball tucked under his arm, and he's going to move it back to the 3-yard line.
Half the distance from the line of scrimmage. The Raiders decide to take the penalty, and 2nd and about 11 now.
So now both setbacks are in the end zone, Washington and Spence. Wakefield fakes nicely and then throws for all the marbles, but he overshot the intended receiver, Nicholas 𝘬𝘁, and it will be 3rd down and 11 yards to go. Mike Miller was back there defensively, along with Andrew Doak.
Bridgewater not afraid to throw out of their own end zone, and actually 𝘬𝘁 got behind the secondary. If this ball is put on the money, it's a touchdown.
3rd down, 11 yards to go. Wideouts right and left. And they slot 𝘬𝘁 into the left. He goes in motion. Wakefield back into the end zone, trying to avoid the rush, airs it out, and it is intercepted at the 10, the 5, and the touchdown by Andrew Doak.
Wow, it was the pressure up front. Wakefield just made a bad decision. He was trying to go up, didn't get much on the football, and Doak was just a guy in waiting. Beautiful pick, touchdown by the defense.
By the sword, die by the sword, and that's the story of Bridgewater. Great defense all year long. And this time, Mount Union's defense tallies the first 6.
Wakefield looks like he's got time, but actually there's pressure coming up front as the offensive line is getting pushed right into Wakefield. He fires it, but Doak read it beautifully and had clear sailing.
All right, Wilder will kick. Ball's down, kicks up, sails through the uprights, and Mount Union has a 7-0 lead with 5:43 to play in the first quarter.
Well, the offense stalls and the defense picks you up. That's what championship teams are all about. The Purple Raider defense comes up big, and again, Doak's going to get credit for the interception, but the offensive line pressured Wakefield into the bad throw.
2 turnovers forced by Bridgewater and 1 now by Mount Union, but Mounts turns into 6, and here's how it happened, Harry.
And another close-up view here of Wakefield. Watch the defensive guys just kind of pushing. Now they're coming after him. Little happy feet, and then makes the decision to throw to the sideline and doesn't get it there because Doak made the play. So the Raiders on top, 7-0. That gives the offense a lift whenever your defense can come up with a big play. Purple Raiders have scored now in 266 consecutive games since 1981. And during that span, the defense has posted 41 shutouts, and that's a streak that's still alive, I guess. They've got 41 shutouts, hoping for 42.
We've got more streaks here today, folks, than jet planes coming into O'Hare.
And we'll probably be telling you about them at some
Harry will
point.
dazzle you with them all before it's over. Run up, and Chad Teague with the kick. Coming down in the neighborhood of the 10-yard line. Picked off down there by Marcus Washington, and he's got some running room and is able to roll up to the 39-yard line where he is tackled by Ken Whitfield. Spot the ball right at the 39. First down, 10 yards to go for the Bridgewater Eagles.
Well, Bridgewater's a team that has found themselves down numerous times throughout the year. They have big play capability, so being down 7-0 is not new. We're hoping that they can answer with one of their own here.
Matthews is now in at the fullback spot. Spence had been running there initially. Pitch back to Washington, 35, and boom, down he goes. Knocked down again at the 39-yard line. If he picked up anything, you could measure it with a very small ruler.
Well, Josh Ludwig and Anthony Freight were both there. Had that play read nicely, and no gain to the 40.
2nd and 10.
There's Don Montgomery, the defensive coordinator of the Raiders. You won't dwell on the fact that his defense scored the touchdown for very long. He stays intense no matter what the score.
Napier and Lato out wide to the left. Wakefield decides to pitch. Washington fumbles the ball. It's kicked out of bounds and will belong to Bridgewater over on the far side of the field.
You'll see Freight kind of complaining to the official because Washington, realizing that ball was bouncing around and out of control, decided to just sort of bat it out of bounds himself. Watch him. At the end of this play, takes it and then says, hey, I'm not going to recover it. Get out of bounds.
He just scooped it out.
So he did lose 3 on the play, and Bridgewater's digging a hole for themselves offensively here.
3rd and 13. Brandon Wakefield. He is a junior quarterback. Clock gets rolling again at 4:50 to play in the first quarter. In motion is Colbert, and Wakefield back to go deep, and it is knocked out of bounds. A nice bit of defense over on the far side of the field by Miller. Mike Miller, the 5'9", 180-pound senior from Cuyahoga Falls, knocked the ball away from the intended receiver, Nicholas Lato, and it'll be 4th and 13.
Well, Lato gets open deep, but Miller recovers nicely on this one. And it's forcing Bridgewater into a punt. Wakefield got some pressure up front again, but the pass was thrown pretty well, and Miller just made a tremendous defensive play.
Punting now for Bridgewater will be Patrick King. He had one for 34 yards previously in this period.
Raiders may be going for this one.
The rush is on. The punt is partially blocked. It's bouncing around at the 35 up to the 40. And it is down right there at the 39-yard line. So Mount Union gets another defensive jewel and gets the ball in excellent field position at the Bridgewater 40.
Well, they're high-fiving Anthony Freight, so let's see if it is Freight who got it. 28's the left part of your screen, and yep, it's his hand that touches the ball, and Anthony Freight is just having a superb playoff experience.
Knapp to the right. Sirianni to the left. Rooney back at quarterback. He is being chased. He gets away from the initial hit and then is belted out of bounds.
There's the flag.
Late hit. Very obviously so over on the Mount Union bench.
Now, there wasn't much of a question there. Of course, Purple Raiders are coming over to just let Bridgewater know they didn't appreciate the late hit, but the appreciation is going to come in a 15-yard penalty.
Andy Jones was the man who actually got a hand on the ball carrier, and then somebody over on the far side really drilled him as he went out of bounds.
Now, the one thing that we have discovered in the years we've been doing Mount Union football is when the opposition gets emotional, it plays right into the hands of Mount Union.
Amen.
Zach Bruney's passing stats are 136 for 213 coming in, 23.56 in yardage, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's thrown one here this afternoon, but now trying to engineer a drive which started at the 40 and is now down to the 20.
Second first down by penalty this afternoon for Mount Union. The ball is spotted at the Bridgewater 20. Knapp to the left. And in the backfield, the give to Sprouk, and he pounds his way down to about the 17, and then he is greeted by about half the Bridgewater defense, led by number 99, Jermaine Taylor, who is already showing that he is living up to his headlines.
Well, it is tough to run, and it's obvious here in the early going, at least for Mount Union, that this run defense is outstanding, and Taylor is a tough guy to take out. Jermaine Taylor goes 5'10", 210, senior and maybe an NFL prospect.
Defense jumping around as in the backfield, Bruni fakes to Sprouk, throws far side. It is caught inside the 10, down inside the 6 to the 5-yard line or thereabouts.
That was Drew Handley on the reception, the tight end. Nice reception and nice run after the catch.
Handley 6'1", 208, a junior from Tiffin, Columbian.
Good job up front. You saw Larry Kennard throw a nice block, and then out in the flat goes Handley for the reception.
They spot the ball at the 7-yard line. First down, goal to go. Mount already up 7-zip thanks to the defense with 3:37 to play in the first quarter. Miller in motion to the right side. Bruni's going to keep it, and he gets down inside the 5-yard line, but that's about it.
Another guy who's been active defensively is Adrian Herndon, and he wears number 37, and Herndon was the one who kept Bruni from picking up the touchdown yardage.
Second down, and about 4 yards to go. Mount Union knocking on the door with 3 minutes to play of the first quarter.
Raiders with just 45 yards rushing here.
Knapp right, Sirianni left. Knapp in motion. Give to Strouk, and Strouk goes nowhere. Boy, they were waiting for him.
And this time the bottom of the pile yields Manny Jones, who made the stop.
Manny Jones is a 6-foot, 280-pounder from Fort Washington, Maryland. Mount on occasion this year has just overpowered the opposition with the size of their line, but they've got some behemoths up there for Bridgewater today.
And good quickness by Bridgewater. You know, Bridgewater beat Lycoming to get here, and on 3 occasions, Lycoming got inside the 10-yard line and got turned away.
Ball just shy of the 6-yard line. This will be third down and goal to go. Bruni back, Bruni looks, he rolls, being chased, 15-10, throws into the end zone. Knapp caught the ball.
Wow, what a tough pass that was for Bruni, and a nice job by Knapp to get open.
That was an amazing catch, it really was.
He went way up there, and that's the luxury you have if you're Zach Bruni. He's rolling to his left, all looks hopeless here as he is being pursued. There's people in front of him. There's no way he can run it in for the score. So Bruni does the only thing he can possibly do. He puts it up for grabs and says, Randall, just get there, please.
And he did. Wow, what a catch. Extra point drilled through the uprights by Wilder, and it is now 14-0 in favor of Mount Union with 2 minutes to play in the first period.
So you look at that touchdown and you say, how do they do it? But Mount Union makes things happen, and it's because of Zach Bruni's ability to roll away from the pressure and his wisdom to be able to put the ball up there for his top receiver that resulted in the touchdown. Good job by Bridgewater. You can't fault them for anything they did on this play. It's just good workmanship by the quarterback and the receiver, and Knapp makes a fabulous catch.
We have 2 minutes exactly to play in the first quarter.
Now we get the end zone look from what would be the north end, and again Bruni throwing the ball awkwardly, but knew that his best receiver was there, and they link up 14-0 in favor of the Purple Raiders. And again, you look so far at this game, you're thinking Bridgewater's playing an outstanding ball game, but they find themselves down a couple of touchdowns.
So Chad Teague will kick off. We've got Washington deep for Bridgewater. Along with Sean Smith. Teague drives it downfield. It'll be Smith at the 15, 20, 25, 30, and down at the 34 or 35 yard line. So first down and 10 yards to go for Bridgewater as we're into the final 2 minutes of the first quarter, and Mount Union with the 2-touchdown lead.
As we look back on Mount's first touchdown, that defensive touchdown was their 5th of the year. Now here comes Wakefield, and he's got to rally the troops as the Eagles find themselves down a couple of scores.
Matthews and Washington, the setbacks behind him. Wakefield fakes, rolls, good night. He was buried.
Johnny Joseph was not taking the bait on the fake, and he came right in and leveled Wakefield.
That'll put the ball back at the 30-yard line. Our scouting reports tell us that Johnny Joseph is sporting a mohawk haircut under that helmet.
And Wakefield with the fake, and Joseph, somebody forgot to block him, and that's always going to result in disaster.
Minute and 20 to play in the quarter. Wakefield in the backfield, hands off and diving up over the 35 to the 37-yard line for Bridgewater is Jamie Langley. He is 5'8", 175 from Springfield, Virginia. They spot the ball at the 37, making a 3rd down and 8 yards to go.
So Coach Clark has rotated Langley into the lineup as the tailback, Marcus Washington the featured back. But the Eagles find themselves in a precarious 3rd and 8 here.
They bring Colbert out wide to the near side. And back to throw. Wakefield gonna go for all the marbles. Ball knocked away by Miller from the intended receiver, Brett Colbert. And it'll be 4th down and 8 yards to go, and Bridgewater will be forced into punting.
And again, Mike Miller making the play. That pass was right there. Colbert had position on Miller too, and he's got the height advantage at 6 foot as Wakefield tries to get the touchdown, but Miller makes the play.
The punt will come from Patrick King. King with a 34-yard punt. The last one was partially blocked.
They've got the return on this time.
Charging up to get it on the dead run is Jason Cavell. He crosses the 50 and is belted down at the Bridgewater 42-yard line. The man who made the hit was Craig Smith.
Well, he caught it on the dead run too, and there was no contain to the left side, so he had nothing but sideline. They finally caught up to him, but the Raiders get great field position. So the special teams set up shop for the Raider offense at the 42-yard line.
21 seconds to play in the first period. Sirianni and Knapp are the wideouts. Fake to Strock. This is Burkhardt, puts his head down and picks up a couple of yards to the 40. And that should take care of the first quarter. As the clock runs down, the ball spotted at the 40-yard line. Mount Union leading by 2 touchdowns at the end of the first quarter. We'll be back with more after this timeout.
Well, back here at Mount Union Stadium, the Purple Raiders out to a 14-0 lead, and you kind of scratch your head. Bridgewater has played them tough, but the Purple Raiders have made some big plays, including an interception return for touchdown, partially blocked punt, a pass from Bruni to Knapp, and just like that, you got the opposition down by a couple of scores.
Well, �々has taken 4 snaps himself and picked up 28 yards in rushing, averaging 7. He is the leading ground gainer for Mount Union at this point of the ball game. He's back to pass this time. Throws it right down the middle. Randell Knapp of the dead run. 6 more for Mount Union.
Boy, you could see it developing. They only had one guy covering Knapp. You can't succeed for long doing that. He ran a deep post. He was open, and �々put it on the money, and the Raiders go up 3 touchdowns. Randell Knapp. He's poised to become the all-time leading single-season scorer for Mount Union as a receiver. He needed 90 yards in reception yards to get there, and he helped himself right there with a touchdown catch.
Wilder's kicking out of Bruni's hold, and he finds the goal post to his liking at both ends of the gridiron, and it's now 21-0 in favor of Mount Union. 14:53 to play of the first half in this NCAA Division III semifinal ball game.
Of course, what's at stake? The winner of this one plays the winner of St. John's and RPI in the Stag Bowl. These two teams, you might recall, met in 2001 in the Stag Bowl, and here you see this was a night game that Bridgewater scored first and took the early lead against the Raiders. This is the only night game in Stag Bowl history. Raiders came right back. You might recognize that number 10. That's 𝘎𝘁 going in for the score, and they tied it up. Bridgewater, a big play team. They have been this year. They were then. Made a nice pass for the touchdown to regain the lead. And then 𝘎𝘁, who had an excellent game.
Oh, what a game.
Picked up a touchdown to give the Raiders the lead back. Jason Perkins then made a big-time interception here. Good pressure up front, and he ran it in for the touchdown. And that may have been the turning point, except for the fact that Bridgewater kept battling back. In fact, they scored 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. This was Moore's 95-yard run. He got through the initial grouping there and just outraced everybody. And that looked like it was going to be the crowning blow, and as it turned out, it ended up being the margin of difference for the Raiders.
Back to live action, as they like to say in television. The kickoff was taken by Marcus Washington, and he was cut down at his own 22-yard line, where it will be 1st and 10 for Bridgewater.
That 30-27 game in that Stag Bowl, people just, walked away from there relieved, I think, more than joyful, because Bridgewater gave Mount all they wanted. In fact, Bridgewater was still talking about, oh, if we only would have had 5 more minutes, we probably could have beaten them.
Wakefield at quarter. That's Devin Thornton in motion. Wakefield hands off to a new backfield participant in Winston Young. And Winston Young meets half the Mount Union defense and is able to get to the line of scrimmage and a little else.
Yeah, they list Winston Young as a 5'11", 195-pound freshman from Ontario, Canada.
They do give him a gain of about 1.5 yards, so it'll be 2nd down and a long 8.
Well, since the first series, this Raider defense is coming up huge, and on that particular play, we saw Tony Buckler making the tackle.
Wakefield back to air it out, and it is caught very nicely by Brian Awkward. He is able to spin up to the 31-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and about 1 yard to go. 2 Raiders went for the interception, and Awkward was able to come up with it. 22 catches, 330, 15 yards per catch average, 5 touchdowns. Made a nice reception there and sets up a 3rd and 1 for Bridgewater. Wakefield is now 3 of 10 in passing. The first 2 went to Napier. Wakefield moves up under center. 13:24 to play in the first half. given the backfield and driving ahead is Matthews. He is able to get up to, well, it's not Matthews, that's Eric Spence, who has replaced Matthews. He is able to get first down yardage as he shoves the ball up to the 34-yard line. 1st and 10 now for Bridgewater at their own 34.
Well, Spence is a bruiser. He's going to pick up the tough yardage, and you'll have to, almost get the handoff in order to keep him from getting a yard. So good call there. Picks up the first down for the Eagles.
Brandon Wakefield at quarter. He sends 𝘍𝘳 in motion. Fakes out of the backfield, the throw down the middle, and it is caught down at the 30-yard line. That was a heck of a catch at the 30 made by Douglas Napier because he had defenders on both sides.
And the defenders are starting to gamble a little bit, going for the interception. That's the second reception in a row for Bridgewater that resulted in just Mount Union going for the football instead of defending the man. And that pass was thrown right where it needed to be for the first down. And the Eagles, this is a team that no lead seems to be too safe.
Ryan Awkward out to the left. Colbert to the right. And the give in the backfield is to Winston Young. He goes near side and is ushered out of bounds, but a pickup on the play from the 30 down to about the 26, so he picked up 4 yards.
They go wide with Winston Young, and the Raiders blocked pretty well up front. Young can't quite turn the corner, but as Joe described, he picked up about 5.
Yeah, they give him 5 to the 25-yard line. Second down, 5 yards to go. Wideouts right and left, leaving the single setback, Eric Spence. Wakefield gives to Spence, and he fights his way inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. And that's about it.
I thought they'd pick up a few yards there. They're now in 4-down territory, down by 3 touchdowns. Can't imagine that they'd settle for a field goal, even if it does get to be 4th and say 2 or 3.
Tony Buckler was the man who made the tackle, among others.
Although we do see the place kicker, Kyle Beach, warming up.
At the 24, it's 3rd down and 4 yards to go. Colbert in motion. Wakefield back, fires, nice catch, and down at the 21-yard line, in spite of Mike Miller's tackle, is Nicholas 𝘍𝘳, and that is close to a first down. The spot will determine whether it's 1st and 10, and they may bring the chains for this one.
And 𝘍𝘳 comes up gimpy. He got drilled pretty well after making the reception. You see him hunched over. Wakefield did very well to get rid of this football. He was under pressure. 𝘍𝘳 makes the catch. Miller just hits him in the hip with the shoulder pad. That sends 𝘍𝘳 to the bench. Bring in the chain and see what happens here.
You stretch it out, and it is 1st and 10 for Bridgewater out at the Mount Union 20-yard line. 11:41 to play in the first half.
Have to keep an eye on 𝘍𝘳. He is their 2nd best receiver, but I don't think the injury is going to be keeping him out of the rest of the game.
Brian Awkward to the right. The man replacing 𝘍𝘳 is Michael Oakes, a freshman. He slotted to the right side. Wakefield on the pitch back and running near side for yardage is Winston Young down to about the 17-yard line. He picked up 3. 2nd down and 7 yards to go.
Good misdirection there, but the Raiders staying home. Miller was able to come up and make the stop, so what could have been a big gainer only picked up a couple. Looks like this play is going to go to the right initially. Several of the Raiders bit that way, but Miller comes up. That wasn't Miller after all, was it? That was �㐂𝑃ONY.
Back to throw is Wakefield, throws the other way, and it's picked off nicely by Devin
Fumble.
Thornton, but a fumble, and the ball belongs to Mount Union if the Purple Raider defenders are correct in pointing downfield, and when they unpile, It is first down for Mount. They stop him down at the 15-yard line.
Miller came up with it for the Purple Raiders. So nice pass reception, but he got thumped and the ball came loose, and Miller gets up off the bottom of the pile with the football. Wakefield looking right now, looks across the field. And let's see, here comes the, he just dropped it. Didn't look like there was a big hit, but the guy who was hanging on him for Mount Union was none other than Anthony Freight.
That evens up the turnovers at 2, Harry.
Yes, it does. Raiders with their worst field position to start a drive now at their own 15, but they do lead it 21-0.
Clock showing 10:47 to play in the first half. Here comes Strauch up over the 20 to the 25. Knocked down there, but it is very close to a first down depending upon the spot. I'll give him just across the 25, so it is first down and 10 yards to go.
That brings Strauch up to 6 carries for 21 yards. Rushing yards, Mount Union 55, Bridgewater 19. And in the passing category, an even 100 for the Purple Raiders, and the Eagles are 29.
It's Brony in the backfield. The pitch back to Strauch, and he fights his way up over the 25 to the 26-yard line, turning the corner for very short yardage. He is greeted on the far side by Sean Smith, a senior defensive back out of Ashland, Virginia.
Barry Karras on the sidelines, talking things over with his offense. He's usually uses his receivers as his messengers. Leto, stretched out, looked like a hamstring problem.
Knapp left, Sirianni right. Bruni back, Bruni being chased, gets away from it, throws downfield and throws it out of bounds.
Now Bruni was in trouble from the get-go, and as he rolled left, there wasn't anybody open, but he did well to evade what could have been about a 10-yard loss.
I mean, a nice throw to Drew Hanley, who was out of bounds at the time.
Yeah, wrong tight end.
Yes. Third down, 9 yards to go. Strauch comes out. Coming into the ball game for Mount Union is John Healy. Healy will go out to the left side. They'll send 3 wideouts to the right. There's the pitch out on the right side, taken over there for about 6 yards by Joe Bugara. That'll leave him 4th down and about 4 yards to go, so it'll be punt time for the Purple Raiders.
Well, Bruni with a real quick pass. There was no deciding on this one. Bugara needed some blocks, but as he tried to make his cut, his feet went out from under him a little bit, but good coverage by Bridgewater results in the Raiders having to punt it away.
Oh, Mount Union with 𝘿𝘮𝘭𝘭 to punt for the first time in the ball game. He's standing in his own 18, delivers the punt. Going back to get it is Brian Awkward, but he's going to let it bounce. And this one is going to bounce out of bounds down at the 21-22-yard line in Bridgewater territory.
So a 45-yard punt, no return for 𝘮𝘭𝘭, and pins Bridgewater back, but give Bridgewater's defense credit. This is the first time they've held the offense in 2 series, so Mount Union hanging on to the 21-0 lead with 8:41 remaining in the second frame.
Brandon Wakefield back in the game at quarterback. He's a junior, 5'11", 175 from Chesapeake, Virginia. He's got 2 setbacks behind him. Puts Devin Thornton in motion. Fake to the tailback. Wakefield, a lot of time this time. Throws downfield, and it is almost intercepted down at the 45-yard line by Ross Watson.
Actually, Brett Colbert broke up the play as the receiver. I think Watson had a beat on it, and Colbert had to kind of reverse roles here and become the defensive back. As all kinds of time here for Wakefield, but the Raiders have good coverage downfield, and I don't know what he saw, but I saw 2 black jerseys over there. Watson had the best shot at it, but it was broken up by the receiver, 𝘉𝘁.
Second down, 10 yards to go. Ball at the 22-yard line. Give in the backfield, and driving ahead is Robert Matthews. He's up over the 25 to the 27, 28-yard line. Pick up of the play of 6 yards, leaving it 3rd down and 4 yards to go.
Matthews has carried 66 times for 487 yards, an average of 7.4 yards per carry, and picked up about 7 with Sean Spisak hanging on him to make the tackle, but now it's a 3rd and 3 for the Eagles.
Out wide to the right comes Brian Awkward. You got 3 wideouts to the near side of the field, and the 1 lone setback behind quarterback Brandon Wakefield. Flag of the play, the quick pitch ahead to Douglas Napier, and Napier is up for 1st down yardage, but the flag may negate this whole thing.
The line judge threw this one. He's going to come in and talk it over.
He's pointing at Bridgewater.
May have had that illegal shift again.
Justin Stickley is also pointing in the direction of Bridgewater, and it will be a penalty against the Bridgewater Eagles.
Yeah, Mike Walpe, the referee, indicating illegal procedure, not of the dead ball variety, but it is procedure against Bridgewater, so the 1st down negated, and it'll set up a 3rd and about 8. Mike Clark, the head coach of Bridgewater, what a great job he has done. He's been there, this is his 9th season now, with a 57-42 and 1 mark, and his teams have, of the last 4 years at least, have been in the playoffs. So he's built a program at Bridgewater.
Ball at the 24. 3 receivers to the right side this time. And his favorite receiver, Napier, to the near side. Wakefield back, fires a strike. It is caught up at the 30-yard line. And hit immediately is Brian Awkward, which will make it 4th down and about 3 yards to go.
So the Raider defense, aided by an illegal procedure call against Bridgewater, does its job again. Penalties, Bridgewater 4 times for 29 yards, Mount penalized once for 5.
The punt off the foot of Patrick King bounces downfield to the Mount Union 40, and that's where it dies. Touchdown there by Andrew Cruson, a 5'9", 97-pound senior out of Fairfax, Virginia. So Mount Union takes over. 6:53 to play of the 2nd period, and leading 21-0.
Punter Patrick King, after he punted the ball, fell over a couple of Raiders who were on the ground and was looking for a call, but the official, looking right at the play, nodded negatively, saying that that was not going to be roughing the punter. So Mount does put it in play at its own 40.
Rick Prescott at center, snaps back to Burkhardt. Burkhardt fires and complete to Sirianni across the 50 to the 49-yard line. The tackle made there immediately by Stuart White, who has been strong in the Bridgewater backfield defensively today, but it's still good for 1st down yardage.
And Burkhardt has the time, comes out, fires the ball to Sirianni, who makes his 3rd reception, good for 33 yards, receiving for the senior.
John Healy brings the play in and goes to tight end on the left side. Burkhardt back, gives to Strauch. Strauch comes ahead to the 45 and all the way down to the 43-yard line.
Now Strauch's a good hard runner, and injury kept him from the latter part of the regular season. But now 8 carries, good for about 29 yards so far. He had a super game against Wheaton. We take another look. Nice hole opens up. And Strauch, who comes from Avon Lake, runs hard. Picks up good yardage on 1st down.
2nd down, about 2.5, 3 yards to go. Ball spotted just shy of the 41-yard line. Burkhardt to Strauch, and Strauch is nailed by Jermaine Taylor, Mr. Everything, on defense for Bridgewater. He picked up a yard, 3rd and 2.
Now 9 rushes, 30 yards for Jeff Strauch. And Big number 99, Jermaine Taylor, in on the stop as we take another look at it. Tried to find the hole and may have been better off going wide because Taylor probably wouldn't have been the man who brought him down. Always looks better on replay.
Yes. Strauch and Miller are the setbacks. Burkhardt under center for this one. Gives to Strauch, and he fights his way very close to first down yardage. May well have it down at the 37-yard line.
Good battle by Strauch. Good second effort. Kept bulling ahead and now picks up the first down. Interestingly, they got this drive started with a nice pass. Good 10, 12-yard pass to Sirianni, and they have kept it on the ground since, mixing it up nicely.
Headed down to the 5-minute mark here in the second period. All right, Burkhardt fires downfield. Sirianni makes the grab down at the 24-yard line. First and 10.
It's always interesting watching defenders at the beginning of the game and then at a point at which they're down 3 or 4 touchdowns. It starts out with a lot of confidence, a lot of chest bumping and everything else. And then by the time they're down 3 touchdowns, they're looking around in wonderment, trying to figure out how do we stop this. Burkhardt 7 of 8 for exactly 100 yards.
He's back to throw again. Decides there's nothing available, and they're going to knock him down just shy of the line of scrimmage at the 25-yard line.
Well, he was looking downfield. They wanted to throw the ball to Sirianni, but he got double coverage that time in the end zone, and Burkhardt wisely pulled it down and got back to the line of scrimmage.
Second down and 10 yards to go. 21-0 in favor of the Mount Union Purple Raiders. As you can see, the clock ticking down toward the 4-minute mark. I don't want to strike a note of panic into the booth here, Harry.
Where's the pizza?
Where is the pizza?
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Back goes Burkhardt. Throws far side. Nice catch down at the 6-yard line.
And that was
Knapp. Beautiful.
That was Knapp again.
Yep.
Boy, he's having a game, isn't he?
Just inside the 7-yard line. First and goal to go.
Here's Burkhardt with time. And perfect throw to Knapp. And what a big target Knapp is.
He has now had 3 catches for 62 yards. Burkhardt. Pitch back to Strauch, turning the corner, dances out of bounds right at the line of scrimmage. So it'll be second down, 7 yards to go for the touchdown.
That play was made by Kelly Moore, who really didn't make the tackle, but he cut off the corner. So far, Knapp with 3 catches, 62 yards, 2 touchdowns. And like I said, needing 90 to become the season receiving record holder.
Season.
There we go. I was trying to look for that other S in there, and I'd already gone too far ahead. Single season record holder.
Knapp left, Sirianni right. We have Strauch slotted to the right side, and now it's going to be Burkhardt to run with the ball, and he scampers into the end zone for a touchdown.
Just missed tackling on the part of Bridgewater, and also good wisdom. Do we have a flag?
Yes,
we do. We have a flag, though.
Flag
Let's see.
down at the 2.
It might be holding. This might have created the hole for Burkhardt.
Yep, they're going to bring it back. Holding call against the Purple Raiders.
That hole did open rather suddenly and got me to wondering, especially when the flag went down. Negate the touchdown. Burkhardt looking for the opening, finds it. Could have been a hold.
The ball's brought back to the 14.
In that mass of humanity, you would imagine the official saw something, and now it's going to be, what, second down?
Second down and 14 yards to go for Mount Union. First to the football, the center, Rick Prescott, a 5'10", 271-pound senior from East Liverpool. Here's the pressure, and Burkhardt is tripped up and knocked down at the 16-yard line.
Well, from the ground, Gary Nelson, who had already been blocked, was able to once again just get 𝘬𝘓𝘏 at the ankles and trip him up. See 𝘬𝘓𝘏 get blocked, Nelson get blocked, and as 𝘬𝘓𝘏 tries to move forward, he's able to get him.
3rd and 16. 𝘬𝘓𝘏 gazing over at the Mount Union bench. 3:09 and counting.
Raiders may be just waiting and calling a timeout here.
The play clock ticking down inside 10 seconds.
𝘬𝘓𝘏 just exchanging pleasantries with Mike 𝘠𝘬𝘴𝘰, the referee, just telling him, hey, we're going to take a timeout at a certain point.
And
Raiders
they did.
do call for the timeout on a 3rd and goal from the 16th. Well, you know, we're in a streak situation. If Mount would win, they would set the all-time win streak. And back when Oklahoma had the streak, Mount Union was playing Otterbein here at Mount Union Stadium. And a familiar running back again, Chuck Moore, taking it in for a score. Raiders scored lots of points here as Marino catching a touchdown. Here was an interception by McLean off of an Otterbein pass. Mount led at that point 14-0, but the Raiders went on for the victory, which then was the 48th straight in the first 54-game streak and broke the Oklahoma record. And I'll tell you, we got descended upon, I remember that well, by the media from Texas, Oklahoma. National media were pretty hyped up about it because they had broken a Division I streak. In this case, still a lot of publicity, but you didn't have the interest out of Texas and Oklahoma anymore because they're in the process of trying to break their own streak.
There are other streaks.
Oh yeah, we'll be talking
out there.
We'll be talking about it. Right now, the only streak Larry cares about is keeping their hopes alive as they drive toward the Stag Bowl.
𝘬𝘓𝘏 fires to the end zone. Touchdown.
Yep, and guess who?
Russell Knapp.
Knapp with the touchdown reception.
There's no laundry on the field this time, and it is 27-0 Mount Union.
Boy, he's a great receiver, and they are featuring him this afternoon. 𝘬𝘓𝘏 whips it in there, and Knapp, again, a post pattern, picks it up.
Bruni to hold. Wilders to kick. And it's up, and it is good, and it is 28-0 in favor of the Mount Union Purple Raiders with 2:50 to play in the first half.
So the timeout paid big dividends for Mount Union as Coach Karras talked to both 𝘬𝘓𝘏 and Knapp. They set up the play and executed it perfectly. But Knapp, you know, he catches the ball all over the field, whether it's in the middle of the field or on the sideline or deep in the end zone. He's just been everywhere.
Or above the field, as he did on that one touchdown grab.
That is so true, and now Mount off to a 4-touchdown lead. This is what they were trying to do, but they are aware, they are wary of the fact that Bridgewater has been a team that can put points on the board often.
Mount had them down 30-13 in the Stag Bowl and then had to fight for their lives. 2:50 to play in the first half. Knapp now 4 catches, 78 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Edging up on that 90-yard total that he needs.
Chantique delivers a high short kick. This one is to Marcus Washington to the 24, and he breaks ahead to the 37-38-yard line. He is drilled to the ground there by Eric Galt, a 6'2", 225-pound sophomore from Westport, Indiana.
A lot of the Raiders, a guy like Eric Galt, they'll earn their spurs on the special teams and then eventually work their way into the lineup. I know coaches like to give the younger players the opportunities to prove themselves on special teams first.
Wakefield looks over his offensive deployment with 2:45 to play in the first half. Mount with a 4-touchdown advantage. In motion is 𝘍𝘁. patch to 𝘍𝘳, and he is up over the 45 to the 47-yard line, close to first down yardage. It'll leave him shy by about a yard.
And they're going no huddle. 𝘍𝘳 showing no ill effects from whatever malady he had.
2nd and a yard. Wakefield out of the shotgun. He fires a strike down the middle, and it is caught and dropped at the 43-yard line. Douglas Deep here, his favorite receiver, is the guy who made the grab. Russ Watson and others were down there defensively, but Bridgewater trying to get on the scoreboard before halftime. Wakefield in the backfield turns, gives the ball to Jamie Langley, and Langley is stopped after a very short gain.
Well, with their entire allotment of timeouts, they can afford to call the running play as they are in a hurry up.
All right, back goes Wakefield, looks near side, overshoots the intended receiver, Brian Awkward, down at the 35-yard line, and that will stop the clock with 1:56 to go and make it 3rd down and 9.
Don Montgomery sending in the defensive signals for the Raiders.
And Randall Knapp now ties a career high with 3 touchdown receptions in one game.
And we still have a half to go.
Ball just inside the 40 in Mount Union territory. Awkward coming out very wide to the left. In motion goes 𝘮𝘮. And it is Wakefield way back, throws kind of an outlet pass to Winston Young. And Winston Young is able to get it down inside the 30 to the 25-yard line and keep the Bridgewater drive alive, 1st and 10.
Give credit to Wakefield for this one. He was in trouble, rolling right. And, you know, we mentioned the fact that Young is just a freshman. Made a good move to the football, running right with him, and then tight ropes the sidelines for the 1st down.
Young comes out, replaced by Jamie Langley, who was a sophomore. 1st and 10 at the Mount Union 25-yard line. Wakefield throws down the middle into open country, and it is 2nd down and 10 yards to go with 1:43 to play.
I think it was intending that one for 𝘮𝘮, but couldn't get it there because he had some pressure up front.
So 2nd and 10. Johnny Joseph comes back into the ball game defensively for Mount Union. He is 6'4", 245, a senior from Mogadore. Wakefield back.
Look out.
Smothered. The ball is loose. It's on the ground and finally recovered by Mount Union up at the 38-yard line. Another turnover by Bridgewater.
Well, coming up with the football was Jason McElhenney, and he may have been the one who also jarred it loose. Wakefield was in deep trouble, and he went back to throw and never could get that arm moving forward. Let's see, though, on the replay if anything is different. Yep, it was batted away. Stickley is the one who got the ball, and McElhenney comes up with it. And let's see if Mount is content with a 28-0 lead, 1:36 remaining in the half. I suspect not.
So it's Brony back in at quarterback. Going to keep it himself and breaks across the 40 to the 45 and down at the 47-yard line. Ball came out after he hit the ground. It was picked up by Stuart White, but it will be a pickup of the play of about 9 yards. They'll put the ball down at the 47-yard line. Leaves them just shy of 1st down yardage.
Mount is in the hurry up, but they do have 2 timeouts remaining, so that's plenty of time with this offense.
Now we have an official's timeout as they're going to bring the chains in.
I thought it was well short, but they did get a good spot.
Well, if they got this 1st down, Harry, it's by the nose of the ball, and that's all.
Meanwhile, Coach Karras taking the opportunity to talk directly to Bruni. And by the way, it is by the nose of the ball. This, even though you say it's stuffed pigeon, I still say it's eagle eyes.
There's Zach Bruni's story.
3 for 16 rushing. And we had a feeling, the way the press clippings were about this defense of Bridgewater, that both Bruni and Burghardt would be using their feet here this afternoon.
This is Bruni using his feet again, crosses the 50 and runs out of bounds.
Whoa.
At the 46-yard line.
He almost got himself in trouble there, trying to leap over the fencing along the sideline.
They spot the ball at the Bridgewater 46-yard line. There's 1:13 to play in the first half. And Mount Union pounding along. They scored 14 points in the first quarter and have come up with 14 more here in the second period. Sirianni and Knapp are the wideouts. In the backfield, Sprout, 45, 40, and 35, and wrestled down at the 35-yard line. Another first down for the Mount Union Purple Raiders.
Well, that stops the clock. 1:06 remaining. Raiders on the move.
You know, it's really interesting, Harry, that if Bridgewater had gone down and scored on that last drive, it would have given them some impetus and hope for the second half. If Mount comes down and scores in the final minute here of the first half, it could really be a crusher.
Makes a big difference.
Bruni, he's going to keep it himself and is able to drive down to the 30-yard line to pick up a 5. And a timeout call by Mount Union with 47.4 seconds to go.
And Bruni showing good wisdom on that play because he was running the ball and chose to go down. Now, we talked about streaks.
Yes.
We talked about the fact that 55 gives them the all-time winning streak, but there's still an unbeaten streak that has been uncovered, and that was held by Washington. They have a 63-game unbeaten streak because of the tie situation. Of course, we don't have ties anymore in college football. Augustana is number 2. That's the Augustana that we know and love out of Illinois, who had the 4 consecutive national championships. Michigan with 56, and then, of course, the 96 through 99 54-game Mount Union streak added to this one. So there's still some streaking left to be had here.
I think that Washington streak came in the days of the flying wedge, leather helmets, and
maybe no helmets.
No helmets, maybe. It's a long, long time ago.
Yeah, it goes back into the early 1900s. So yeah, who knows? I know Coach Karras not fond of talking about streaks.
No.
But those of us in the media,
If he's watching this tape, he's just thrown a coffee cup at the screen.
More than likely than not.
And we'll tell you that you and I need new material. All right.
That is right.
Bruni back. Bruni throws. It is caught down at the 14-yard line, and Randell Knapp adds to that total. He's right at it now, if not over. The ball down at the 15-yard line. That's his 5th catch of the day.
As we take another look, this time Knapp goes down and out, and he does now have 92 yards in receptions, and that is the single season record now at Mount Union College. So congratulations to Randell Knapp.
And Bruni back again. Fires to the end zone, caught for 6 more.
Sirianni
this time to make it 34-0.
Wow, what an impressive performance. Bruni picking out Sirianni across the middle. He makes the reception, and Mount goes up 5 touchdowns. Another look. Bruni has the time, and that offensive line, which has done that all season long, allows the quarterback to pick out the open receiver. In this case, it's Sirianni.
Wilder's going 5 for 5. If he hits this one, Bruni will hold. And he does. 35-0 with 36.8 seconds to play in the first half here at Mount Union.
Well, the Raiders take advantage of the turnover, march down, and go up by 35. Now, you mentioned the pizza earlier, and it's still not here, but what worries me more is the number of people we have in our box that we have to share it with.
That's right.
And
there's a fella sitting behind me who looks like The pizza may have gotten as far as the door and we'll never see it again. And I am no svelte figure by any chance, but this guy could block out the sun. And he looks hungry.
Well, let's take another look at the touchdown. Bruni to Sirianni, and just, you know, again, single coverage on Sirianni. He's going to make you pay eventually. 35-0, Mount Union.
Well, Sirianni with his first touchdown catch. Knapp has had 3. We had 1 by the defense.
That's the one that got things started.
And 𝘍𝘳𝘰𝘮 intercepted the pass, ran it in. So it's going to be Chad Teague to kick it off. Teague, 6'2", 187, a junior from Orrville.
Second quarters have just been amazing for Mount
Yes.
Union this year.
Teague drives a low line drive shot that skips down to Washington, picks it up at the 16, 20, 25, 30, and 33-yard line. Greeted there defensively by Eric Galt, who is making his name known on the special teams today. Bridgewater still has all 3 of their timeouts remaining. 30.4 seconds to play in the first half.
Now they went no huddle, hoping they could go down and get a quick score and have a shot. That would have made it at that point 28-7, but the miscue allowed Mount to get another touchdown.
Spence gets the ball, 35 and 40, dragged down up at the 42-43-yard line. Tackle made there by Sean Spizak, another senior. This young man is from Sagamore Hills, played at Nordonia. Ball spotted at the Bridgewater 42 with 17.2 seconds to go. Bridgewater will take the first of their 3 timeouts.
So with the big gain, they thought, well, we'll keep it on the ground, see what happens. They pick up almost first down yardage, so calling the timeout now, deciding that, you know, you can't just take the knee at this point. Keep in mind that at the coin flip, Bridgewater deferred. They won the toss, deferred, and so they will, as a result, be receiving the third quarter kickoff. And the football fact, Purple Raiders have gone 38 consecutive games without trailing in the second half. Another streak.
Those streaks just keep on coming.
The numerologist's dream.
Michael Clark has had a chat with quarterback Brandon Wakefield, running back Marcus Washington. It's second down and a yard to go at the Bridgewater 42.
Don Montgomery on the sideline. It's 35-0. You look at him and the intensity is as though it were a scoreless game.
Wakefield fires a strike. Nice catch made at the 46-yard line by Washington. Good for first down yardage.
That'll move the sticks and stop the clock. Oh, but they are going to call a timeout. Timeout called again by Bridgewater.
Well, Randell Knapp with the single season record for receiving yards, 1,459, surpassing 1,456, set by Adam Marino in 1999.
Another look at this play that picks up the first down and keeps things going.
Man wanted to know, do we want 1 pizza or 2? I turned around, looked at this guy, and I said, we better have 4. He looked like my kind of guy. I'm not putting him down because, you know, when I say pizza, his face lights up, and that's my kind of guy. Well, here we go. 1st and 10 for Bridgewater with 12.4 seconds to go. They put Colbert in motion. Wakefield back, trying to run out of trouble, and he does, but he's going to have to come chugging down the sideline, and Miller runs him out of bounds at the 40-yard line, and over there as well is Anthony Freight, and that leaves 5.1 second to play in the first half, and the ball will be spotted just inside the Mount Union 40.
Wakefield did well to run away from the on-rushing Raiders to pick up the first down at the 40-yard line, but now there's time for probably just 1 play.
They may get another timeout. Yep, Bridgewater's going to, no, now Mount Union's going to call the timeout. That'll be their final timeout of the first half as Don Montgomery gets the defense together over there. That's one of the things about Mount Union that I have noticed in the years I've been coming down here. They only play one way. Whether the game is nothing to nothing, 35-0, everybody has the same intensity for the entire ball game.
Well, you know, and it transcends itself even beyond this team. Last year in one of the All-Star games that Dan Pugh was playing in, it was amazing to watch that game because the intensity level of you know, the players was not there. They were there because it was an all-star game, and they were just having a good old time. But once in a while, the camera would focus on Dan Pugh, who was standing right next to the coach, just as intense as anybody, helmet on the entire game, and it just epitomized really what Mount Union football is all about. It's business, and it's business on the football field until the final gun.
Bridgewater spreads them out across the field, leaving one setback, and Wakefield is back to air it out into the end zone, and it is bobbled and knocked away down at the end zone, down at the goal line, and that'll end the first half. The man ended up sitting on the ground with the football was Ken Whitfield, and at halftime the pizza have arrived, and I'm going to put a zone defense on this fella right behind me here. And we'll be back for more in the second half. Mount up 35-0. Now let's take this halftime timeout.
Well, we're back here at Mount Union Stadium, and it's 35-0 Mount Union at halftime. And when this one started, you would have never dreamt it, but the Purple Raiders, as they have done so often this year, put together a string of points that has them up by 5 touchdowns. Here's some highlights. Touchdown. This is not a touchdown. This is the interception on Bridgewater intercepting on the first series. Meanwhile, though, Mount Union came right back with an interception of its own as Doak picked it off and took it in for the first touchdown. And Mount got a little bit of an advantage here off a block punt. Watch Freight come in from the left side of your screen. He gets a hand on the punt, and it sets up good field position for the Purple Raiders, who then followed up with a touchdown as Bruni, scrambling for his life, throws to Knapp for the touchdown in the back end of the end zone. Then, of course, Knapp scored another one. This time it's Burghardt throwing the bomb, and the touchdown by Randell Knapp. Defensively, again, the Raiders come through as a pass completion. Bridgewater was driving, but the ball jarred loose, and the Raiders come up with it. Then Randell Knapp, who has had a tremendous first half, scored his 3rd touchdown. Burghardt finding him across the middle. And the turnovers continued to plague Bridgewater as quarterback Wakefield fumbled the ball, and it set up the next touchdown pass for Mount Union, which went from Bruni to Sirianni and put the Raiders up 35-0. Just a barrage of points there, Joe.
Harry, it's the second quarters this year have been amazing.
Well, looking at the stats, Mount is outgaining Bridgewater 292 to 169. They've gotten them on the ground 192 to 118 and 100 to 50. I should say rushing yardage is 100 to 51, and then the passing yardage 192 to 118. Time of possession is kind of insignificant, but Mount has the advantage. Well, as we begin the third quarter of play here from Mount Union Stadium, Bridgewater, which won the initial toss, deferred, and they will be receiving the third quarter kick, and they got a lot of catching up to do, Joe.
Chad Teague will kick off for Mount. He gets a good leg into this one, and Washington retreats to the goal line and heads the other way. Washington over the 20 and goes out of bounds in the neighborhood of the 22-yard line. That's where Bridgewater will start it off. First down and 10 yards to go. Wind is picking up a little bit now, blowing out of the east, which means it's across the gridiron from right to left as we look at it. So we'll see what happens in the second half as Mount Union has piled up a 35-0 lead at the intermission. Brandon Wakefield, the quarterback for Bridgewater. Turns in his backfield and hands off. The handoff goes to Robert Matthews, and Robert Matthews goes nowhere. He's going to lose about 4 yards on that one. 35-0 and 14:38 to play in the third period.
Tony Buckler coming from the outside linebacker spot. He's a product of Central Catholic High School in Canton. And he's had the opportunity to start for the last couple of weeks and taken advantage of it.
Wakefield with the single setback. Colbert goes in motion. Fakes on the reverse, flips it to the lone setback coming out of the backfield, Robert Matthews, and Matthews goes absolutely nowhere, and it'll be third down and even a longer distance for the first down.
Trying to go with some deception there, but Anthony Freight came up to make the good open field tackle. A little stumble there by the receiver, but Freight not to be denied.
As you have mentioned previously, he has had a tremendous playoff series. Freight is 6'1", 200, a senior from Mentor. Oaks in motion. Wakefield from the shotgun. Flares it out to Washington. Washington gets up to about the 23-yard line, somewhere around the original line of scrimmage. He's belted down at that point by Sean Spisak. Leaves him fourth down and 8 yards to go.
Now Ken Whitfield also in on the stop. Looks like this play is going to go because they do get it over the outstretched arms of the first defender. Then a nice seam opens up, but it closes quickly by Whitfield and Spisak. And Bridgewater down 35-0, has to punt it away.
Standing back is Patrick King at the Bridgewater 10. He's punted the ball 3 times thus far for an average of just over 31 yards of punt, and he had 1 blocked. Going to tighten it up as it looks like, and there is just too much time. The Mount Union defense started to close in, then they wanted the offense to close in, and by the time everybody closed in, the clock had closed out, and it's a 5-yard delay of game penalty.
So they'll move it 5 yards further back, and well, I'll tell you, this punt defense team that Mount's put together, whether they're setting up the return or going for the block, they've performed admirably here in the late going.
How about this, Harry? Second period, RPI 10, St. John's 7.
Yikes.
But St. John's has already proven it ain't over until it's over, and that means you're on the bus. There's a punt back to midfield, picked off there by Jason Cavell. He's down the sideline and is finally belted out of bounds back where Bridgewater was for a line of scrimmage. They'll put it down at the 23-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go for Mount Union.
Well, Andrew Cruson administered the blow to Cavell. Looks like clear sailing for Cavell, and he's had a couple of nice returns. He's set up some excellent field position for the offense in this game. But Cruson comes cruising in there and belts him out of bounds.
Knapp and Sirianni, the wideouts, but driving ahead off right tackle down inside the 20-yard line is Strauch. Strauch now has carried the ball 13 times for about 49 yards.
This is a defense, as we mentioned earlier, that Bridgewater was allowing just 2 yards per play. And Mount has, well, they certainly have a better average than that.
Ball spotted right at the 20-yard line, leaving it second down, 7 yards to go. Racing out wide to the left is Strauch. And Burkhardt back. There's a flag already on the ground. Burkhardt at the 20 and runs out of bounds at the 18-yard line.
Well, this has all the makings of being a problem for Mount Union based on where the flag was thrown. Let's see. That's the illegal shift call. We've had one of those for Bridgewater, now one for Mount Union. So that'll push the ball back 5, and we'll repeat second down.
11:33 to play of the third quarter. Larry Karras surveying the seen here on a overcast and chilly afternoon at Mount Union?
Well, it could have been worse. It could have been like last week when 10 inches of snow decided to fall in about a 3-mile radius. It seemed like Alliance just got pelted last week, but excellent job by players, coaches, ground crew. Got this field in excellent shape and allowed the Raiders to record their 56-10 win over Wheaton, which got us to this point.
Drew Hanley in at tight end brings the play in from the Mount Union bench. That's Knapp in motion. That's Burkhardt, and Burkhardt to the 20. A flag flies. He's down at the 16-yard line.
That's down back in holding territory. So this is a retrograde movement here by the Raiders. After getting the good field position on the punt return, we're going to have holding against Mount.
Well, that's going to shove them back even further. It is second down when they finally do get one off here that is not flagged down. 11:26 to play in the third quarter, 35-0 in favor of the Mount Union Purple Raiders. Winner goes to the Stag Bowl in Salem, Virginia next week, which interestingly enough is in the backyard of Bridgewater College.
You know what it's all about. In fact, in 2001, when Mount traveled down there for that Stag Bowl, they had a overflowing crowd in Salem, and it was as close to a home field advantage, I think, as you can get in Salem, Virginia, but Mount was able to overcome it. Came up with a 30-27 win. Penalty numbers are starting to mount here.
Burkhardt has time. He's going to air it out for Sirianni, and there's 6 more for Mount.
They just needed to be backed up a little bit further to have some success offensively. Sirianni over the shoulder catch, and Burkhardt put it right there. Jamestown, New York, and there's been a long line of Siriannis, and of course we've got Mike Sirianni coaching at Washington and Jefferson now, and he was a part of that 1993 national championship team. Here's another look at it. Burkhardt airs it out. Beautiful spiral and a fine catch by Sirianni.
Oh, it's
penalty on the extra point, it looks like.
Celebration penalty.
We've got to do something to slow down this Mount Union Express. So they threw a flag on the celebration. I've actually gotten a little confused as to what constitutes a celebration after last year's Stag Bowl when Dan Pugh scored a touchdown and sort of held the ball out and got called for a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct.
For taunting.
Yeah, it just depends on the officiating crew, I think.
Well, now the kick is going to come from the 25-yard line so Wilders can practice field goals. It probably will not be needed in the course of this one today. Rooney the hold, Wilders the kick. It doesn't make any difference, folks. It's 42-0 as Wilders completes the long extra point. And it is Mount Union on the roll now, 42-0. Bridgewater is, I am sure, very perplexed at this moment. They just have not been able to do anything against Mount Union today.
Well, as you look at Bridgewater's scores, I mean, nobody scored more than 24 points against them all season long. And here we are, just the opening moments of the third quarter, and they've given up 42. Now, defense did score 1 for Mount, but this Raider squad just keeps on rolling. Mount Union, the only Division III institution to score 500 points or more in 9 consecutive seasons.
Another streak.
Another streak. Exactly.
Remember the fellow I was talking about at halftime who looked like he could devour the pizza all by himself?
Yeah, yes, I do.
He's on a diet. He didn't touch a slice.
Well, your worries were unfounded.
I know.
Because, we, regardless of the number of people that will eat pizzas up here, we've got enough for you.
Teague drives it. Washington waits for it. 5, 10, 15. And down he goes at the 19-yard line. Good pursuit. Union coming down under the kickoff.
Well, there's a number 10. I'm about to, Chuck Moore was up in the booth. I'm about to say that Chuck was in on the tackle, but it was Jesse Klum.
He was a 6'2", 190 junior from Greenville. All spotted at the 19-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Mount Union Purple Raiders.
On defense.
Yeah. I had too much pizza, folks. That's what's happened. The pepperoni is clouding my vision. We have a young man sitting here to our left. He looks like world famine is going to break out tomorrow, and he wants to be ahead of it. Washington up over the 20 to the 22-yard line, knocked down there, and it is a pickup on the play of in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 yards.
And Sean 𝘉𝘳𝑒𝑐 making the tackle, and 𝘉𝘳𝑒𝑐, the leading tackler on this Purple Raider team, he's the leader defensively as well. He gets the signals from Coach Monty, and not just the actual leader, but sort of a spiritual leader as well. People look to Sean 𝘉𝘳𝑒𝑐.
Eric Spence and Brian Awkward are back into the ball game. Spence is a lone setback, and they send Awkward out wide to the left. Wakefield lobs it over the middle. Spence was closest to it. The ball hits the turf up to 35, and it will be 3rd down and 7 yards to go.
That's a play earlier in the game that, had Spence been able to hang on, may have gone for huge yardage, so they go to it again, but this time it's Wakefield who overthrows his back.
He is now 13 for 25 for 123 yards with 1 interception. Well, it's Brian Awkward out to the left. And Colbert in motion. Wakefield is hit and hangs on, and then he threw the ball. Just as he was going down, he threw it right into the midsection of the defender who was charging in on him. Who was that? Big old number 97, Jesse Wells. Took that one amidships. It'll be 4th down and 7 yards to go.
Well, we had a lot of people. Johnny Joseph was there. Wells was there. We also had Jason McElhaney there. So as Wakefield was looking downfield, the secondary had done its job. And that's McElhaney hanging on to him, and he fires it.
When McElhaney got there, anything that happened was going to be bad for Wakefield. 4th down 7. Patrick King will be kicking from inside his 10-yard line. And the boot is blocked. Picked up again by the punter, and he is wrestled down at the 25-yard line. Miller blocked the punt, and alertly, Patrick King picked it up and moved it upfield, but not far enough, so it'll be 1st and 10 for Mount Union.
And with 2 guys back, I thought they were going to set up for the return, but they kept stunning defensively, and Miller comes through and gets the block. Fights off the block, gets his hand on the football, and as Joe described, King alertly was trying to pick up the 1st down, but got tackled short of it. Miller now with his 2nd consecutive game where he's had a blocked punt.
I have a note here that Jesse Burkhardt's 3rd TD pass today ties his career record that he set this year against Wisconsin Whitewater.
Goes back a ways.
And it's Strauch at the 25, and Strauch knocked down shy of the 20-yard line. Pick up on the play of about 3 or 4 yards. Clock ticking merrily along with 9 minutes and 52 seconds to play. Got a glimpse of that Johnny Joseph mohawk. It's a nice one.
I don't have the luxury of being able to do that.
No, I'd give you a mohawk, it'd be kind of messy. Now we have an injured Bridgewater player on the ground down at the 20-yard line. It's 2nd down and 7 yards to go. Wakefield 13 for 26 this afternoon. Napier has been his favorite receiver. He's caught 4 for 70 yards, half of those on 1 grab. Burkhardt 10 of 11, Bruni 5 of 8. That's 15 for 19, not bad. 5 touchdowns through the air. They're still working on the Bridgewater player who was down on the turf at the 20-yard line.
Well, when you look at the rushing statistics, Raiders knew they were going to have trouble running, but Strauch has pick up 49 yards and 13 carries, and now we have Stuart White being assistant from the field.
He's played well here today. In fact, he made that first interception for Bridgewater, but it appears his game is done for the day.
Some Purple Raider faithful.
42-0. Mount Union leads. 9:51, the clock stopped due to the injury, and it has now been helped off the gridiron. Replacing him is number 2, Anthony Hunt, a junior out of Chatham, Virginia. In motion is Knapp. And the give is to Strauch, and Strauch drives down inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. He followed 𝘍𝘳𝘰𝘮, 6'5", 310, a senior from East Canton, off the left side of the line. Strauch now 15 carries, 55 yards.
Well, the offensive line sometimes doesn't get enough credit, but 𝘍𝘳𝘰𝘮 was a feature of a Canton Repository story. Larry Kennard has also been featured in many a story this year in the local Alliance Review and other places.
Strauch again trying to turn the corner, does so at the 20 and goes down, or actually goes out at about the 15-yard line, which should be good for the first down yardage. It is. 1st and 10 for Mount Union. They're keeping the ball on the ground now, trying to run off some clock with a 42-0 lead.
Strauch now 16 carries, 60 yards. And Mount keeping the ball on the ground, moving the clock with a nice padded lead, 42-0.
Nose of the ball at the 14-yard line in Bridgewater territory. Bruni steps back. Clock stopped at 8:53.
We're having a clock problem. Oh, there we go. Now they'll set it, and Bruni ready to go.
Give to Strauch. He spins down to about the 12-yard line. That'll be 2nd down and about 8 yards to go. Coming in with the play is Drew Hanley. Ball at the 12. 2nd down, 8 yards to go. Sirianni right, Knapp left. Knapp goes in motion, and the ball goes to Strauch, and he dances down inside the 10 all the way down to the 5-yard line. Very close to first down yardage. Not quite close enough from our angle, but it'll be 3rd down and less than a yard.
Well, he had Chris Johnson, a 5'7", 257-pounder, on him, and he still kept the legs churning and got moving toward the 5-yard line. Nice
3rd and 1.
Nice running here by Strauch. Good hole opens up, and then manages to lean forward. There's our score by quarters. Mount with a huge 2nd quarter, as they have done all year, taking the 35-0 halftime lead, and now it's 42-0.
Strauch again, touchdown.
Well, they get the rushing touchdown out of Jeff Strauch, who has earned his stripes here in this game. He's been pounding and getting the tough yardage, and now gets credit for the touchdown.
That shoves it out to 48-0. Strauch, a 6-footer, 196, a junior from Avon Lake.
Gets the blocking up front. Strauch lowers the head, both hands wrapped around the football, and gets a nice hug by the guy who led him into the end zone, Brent Miller.
And another extra point by Wilders, and it is 49-0 in favor of Mount Union. Strauch really got a break, unfortunately, for 𝘐𝘂𝘶, who became an injury problem in the Whitewater game. And from that point forward, he has really headed up the running game very, very well in the playoffs.
Good hard runner. Ricky 𝘐𝘂𝘶 maybe just a little bit bigger, but Strauch, you're right, has picked up where 𝘿𝘂𝘭𝘭 left off. And 𝘿𝘂𝘭𝘭 keeps getting healthier as the weeks go by, so you have to believe that with an impending victory here by Mount Union, he'll be ready to go for the Stag Bowl.
Chad Teague will kick off with a matter of 7:29 to play in the third quarter, and Mount sailing along 49-0.
Big ice bag on the ankle of Stuart White. And now if you're Bridgewater, you're down 49-0. You know, it's the old adage about what coaches tell you, never quit. And that's what you have to do right here, is just play this game as though it's 0-0.
They're playing for pride right now.
Right.
Sean Smith and Marcus Washington are waiting for the kick. It's a short kick that'll bounce at the 15. Picked up over there by Washington, and he is able to. There's the ball loose again. Big pile up, and Bridgewater retained possession up over the 30-yard line.
So the Eagles can ill afford yet another turnover as they put the offense on the field.
They'll spot it right at the 30-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Bridgewater Eagles with 7:22 to play in the period. And let's watch it again as the ball took a bounce. Marcus Washington gathers it in. And he has everything but the ball there, and finally it is recovered up at the 30 by Jamie Langley. Wakefield back, throws over the middle. It is caught by Devin Thornton, and Thornton is able to get up to the 38-yard line before being knocked down.
The little short stuff over the middle has been Bridgewater's best bet. And Thornton made the good reception, and then wisely, as Raider helmets were flying at him, put both arms around the football to pick up the first down.
So 1st and 10, 49-0 Mount. 7 minutes to play in the third quarter. Wakefield pitches back, and running wide is Winston Young, and out of bounds he goes, courtesy of Ross Watson.
And the running back on the play for Bridgewater, that was Winston Young, has some words with the side judge who thought maybe he thought he was roughed a little bit, but if you take a look at his stiff arm, he's got it right on the face mask of Ken Whitfield.
St. John has tied RPI 10-10 in their playoff game. Winner there plays the winner here. Wakefield on the option, no option there. He is tagged to the ground.
Yeah, it was Antoine Dillard.
Antoine Dillard doing the number.
Dillard fighting off the block, taking another look at it. Fights off the block, and Whitfield was thinking about pitching it back, but Dillard draped around him, couldn't do much with the football other than just take it to the ground.
Antoine is 6'5", 265, a senior from Cleveland Benedictine. 3rd down, 9 yards to go. Ryan Awkward goes out to the left. They'll move Nicholas Leto into the slot on the right. Wakefield back, throws over the middle, and the ball is dropped by Leto. He had a lot of company as he got the ball, and it went right through his hands and out of bounds, so it'll be, or actually went to the ground incomplete, so it's 4th and 9.
Matt 𝘿𝘂𝘭 makes a nice hit, just in case he was going to hang on to the football. 𝘿𝘂𝘭 was waiting for him, and will force a punting situation for the Eagles.
Patrick King, the punter, punted 4 times for an average of 31.5 yards. Had 1 blocked. 6:01 to play in the third quarter. The kick sails downfield, picked off there at the 24-yard line by Scott Casto, and Casto is still motoring downfield across the 50 down into Bridgewater territory. He'll be knocked out at about the 42-yard line. Well, Casto gets into the act. He's 5'10", 172, a sophomore from Uniontown, played at Green High School.
I think a good part of this return, though, will come back, Joe. There was a flag on the play. Or did it happen at the end of the play? Let's see. This one's against Bridgewater. That is a signal I've got to admit I am unfamiliar with. I thought I knew my signals pretty well. That's handcuff me. You know, he puts his hands behind his back.
I thought that was I've got a sore back.
I don't know, but nonetheless, the Raiders will maintain possession right at the point of return at the 42-yard line.
So at the 42-yard line, first down and 10 yards to go.
Have to go to the referee's handbook after this game to figure out what that one is.
All right, Burkhardt the handoff, and charging ahead is Strauch, and it's down inside the 35 to the 32. We'll march further inside Bridgewater territory, and the clock continues to march along down to inside 5.5 minutes to play in the third quarter.
And Strauch now picking up some yardage and gain field position as they try to protect this 49-0 lead. Strauch now with 83 yards and 20 carries.
All right, it is Burkhardt of the backfield, fakes, keeps it himself, and this time he goes nowhere as greeting him was Gary Nelson, who tackled him back at the 34-yard line.
Somebody missed an assignment there, as you can see. Jesse Burkhardt not too happy coming up off the bottom of the pile. Maybe it wasn't intended to be the quarterback keeper after all.
Third down and about 1.5 yards to go, almost 2 yards for the first down.
I think we may have learned something about that signal. It had something to do with a warning about the bench being too close to the sideline, so we'll verify that for future reference.
Burkhardt back, airs it out to the end zone, touchdown Sirianni.
And Burkhardt had lots of pressure. He felt it coming, but he hung right in there. Sirianni beat the coverage, and Burkhardt put it right on the numbers.
He wasn't going to get yelled at again.
There's Burkhardt in the shotgun. The Eagles are coming, flying at him. He gets rid of it, and Sirianni just beat his man.
His man was Anthony Hunt. He's the young man who came in when Stuart Hunt went down with the ankle injury, and Sirianni beat him. Wilder's kick is good, and it's 56-0 in favor of Mount Union. That's 3 touchdown catches today for Sirianni and 3 for Randell Knapp.
Yep. We said it would probably be the passing game that stepped forward in this one, and it has. They do have 1 rushing touchdown, but Knapp and Sirianni have been the featured receivers. Another look at it. Great camera work, by the way, by our image video crew here this afternoon.
Good to have the varsity back with us this week.
I feel that way exactly.
Not to disparage any other
No,
crews,
no,
but
no.
with image video, you know you're going to get the best possible job, and they consistently show you that every week.
They've been with us since the inception, 1985, and they know how to do it. Good camera work, and Raiders now up 56-0. Wow. This being a semifinal game.
McCaw getting ready for a workout.
Among others.
President Ewing stopped in at halftime to introduce us to the Bridgewater president.
Yeah. And by the way, Dr. Ewing, it's not the 4th quarter yet, so he hasn't done his push-ups.
Well, it's Washington still motoring downfield and is finally taken down at the Bridgewater 40-yard line. It was Jesse Klum who made the tackle, and with 4 minutes and 14 seconds to play in the third quarter, Bridgewater goes 1st and 10 from their own 41.
And now we've got some symmetry in numbers going on here. 14 points in the first, 21 in the second, and 21 in the third.
Brandon Wakefield at quarterback. Matthews back in at fullback, but the give goes to the tailback, and stacked up for nothing is Marcus Washington. He may well have lost a yard. Marcus Washington has been a workhorse this afternoon. 6'1", 180 out of Crozet, Virginia.
You know, Coach Swider from Wheaton last week after the game said something I think a lot of people repeated throughout the week, and that is Mount Union took, you know, we are not a bad football team, meaning Wheaton, but Mount Union is so much better that they made us look like a bad football team. And that's what's happening here, too.
Wakefield's going to throw it all the way, but not far enough because the intended receiver, Nicholas Leto, was about 10 yards ahead of the pass, and so it goes as 3rd down and 11 yards to go.
Bridgewater came in here with just, you know, an outstanding season, and then they go up against the Mount Union machine, and the Purple Raiders just unstoppable, and then they're doing a great job of stopping Bridgewater. And like a lot of teams, the Eagles started out strong, but you know, at some point in the game, the Raiders just take over, and then they can't be stopped.
Wakefield. It's behind George Earl, rolls back, in trouble, down he goes. Ball comes free. It's picked up by Miller, and Miller is headed for Pater. That's Whitfield, number 17, not 13. Whitfield into the end zone. Ken Whitfield, 6 feet even, 193, a sophomore from Strongsville. It was Stickley who made the initial hit, and Whitfield turned it into 6 more.
So another defensive touchdown by Mount Union. And watch Stickley. Stickley misses him initially. As Wakefield goes back to throw, Stickley comes up the middle, misses him, slips. Then as Wakefield decides to cut it upfield, boom, there goes the football. And it bounces right into the hands of Whitfield, who returns it for the touchdown.
62-0. Bridgewater gets an unsportsmanlike call,
which will only result in a little closer.
Well, you can see that Coach Michael Clark, who gets the explanation, hasn't lost his sense of humor. He's able to chuckle at whatever the referee told him. He may not like it, but at least he smiled. Half the distance. Well, we've seen Wilders kick him from the normal distance, kick him from far out, and now he's got an extra point coming where he'll kick it from the 9.
There's Whitfield getting a sip of water after the touchdown, and the extra point is good.
63-0. There he is. 63-zip in favor of Mount Union. He just may have set an NCAA record. Most words spoken into a TV camera without saying "Hi, Mom."
Stickley with the bat away, and then Whitfield was not going to be denied. Once that ball bounced into his hands, even though the score is getting a little bit on the gaudy side, you're not going to have a defender just give up the opportunity for a touchdown when it falls in your laps.
There's Whitfield with the pickup. He knows right where to go. So again, Bridgewater sends back Sean Smith and Marcus Washington, and Chad Teague will be kicking off. Washington has returned 7 for 126 yards today, and Sean Smith 1 for 19. High short kick. Washington draws a bead on it. 20 and knocked out shy of the 25, and a flag flies. May have been a late hit over there.
They're going to say personal foul against Mount Union.
Washington, Marcus Washington, has There are the push-ups being attempted. I see a couple of cheerleaders.
They missed the kickoff, Joe.
Well, a couple of those ladies may be in need of oxygen.
Well, just checking it out, the Raiders this season did score 68 against Heidelberg, 66 against Otterbein.
Ball brought out to the 40 on the unsportsmanlike conduct call. A late hit on the far side. Guy I'm worried about is President Ewing. We aren't even into the fourth quarter yet.
I know. He's done his first quarter push-ups, but hasn't done his fourth quarter push-ups.
Little flare pass on the outside, gathered in by Winston Young. Young gets up over the 40 to the 42. So he ran a lot of ground, but he picked up a matter of 3 yards.
One thing I was noting as we were doing the prep work for this game was the youth. Bridgewater's a pretty young team. They have a lot of sophomores and juniors, and we may be seeing some of these same players again down the road. This is a team that really Mike Clark has done an excellent job of taking from relative oblivion into a perennial contender.
And Mount Union might well have a real tiger by the tail the next time because of the drubbing they are administering today. Handoff Langley. Langley drives forward to the 45-yard line, making it actually a little spotted at the 45.5-yard line, leaving it at 3rd down and 4 yards to go. Just about 2 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter when Bridgewater gets up to snap this ball.
You saw Michael Joris, the backup quarterback, warming up on the Raider sidelines.
We saw Joris briefly last week. Pass, nice catch up at the 50-yard line. A grab made by Nicholas Leto. Should have the first down with that one. Halftime, St. John's 10, RPI 10.
Johnnies have been playing them pretty close, but they've been able to pull them out in the 4th quarter and stay undefeated, and that's their hope once again, as it's like Mount has this one well in hand, and it could be a familiar Stag Bowl.
The Johnnies and the Purple Raiders, that will be well worth watching. 1st and 10. Wakefield throws to the sideline. The catch is made, and so is the hit. Bang, bang at the 44-yard line in Mount Union territory.
Now Miller administered the hit as the reception was made by Napier. Miller getting there just a little bit late. Napier making the catch, but Miller making sure he doesn't get very far.
Napier now 5 catches for 76 yards. 149 passing yards for Bridgewater, 261 for Mount Union. Wakefield on the option, and he is knocked down at the 42-yard line.
As we look again, and Wakefield running to his right. Tried to run the option on several occasions. And
Jesse Wells and Josh Ludwig.
Wakefield's had to pay the price on the option because he's had to keep it most of the time.
We're into the final 20 seconds of the 3rd quarter. Mount Union clinging to a 63-0 lead. Wakefield fires over the middle. That one is batted down, leaving 5.8 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter, and 4th and 3 at the Mount Union 43-yard line.
Josh Ludwig from East Liverpool got the big body and the hands in the way of this pass. Fights off the block, gets in the passing lane, puts up the left paw and knocks it down.
4th and 3. When you're down 63-0, you go for it. This will be, in all likelihood, the final play of the 3rd quarter. Wakefield rolls and is hit, and he is going down in the next county. Wow.
Yeah, the Raiders were all over him, and the charge was led by Sam Vucelich. And who else was in on that? Stickley. I think it was Stickley. At least they're running off the field together.
Third quarter is history as you watch the big sack.
Now the Buckler was also there. It was Buckler and Vucelich.
So we'll head to the fourth quarter as President Ewing hopefully will not hurt himself with his push-ups. 63-0 Mount Union. Back in a moment.
Well, back at Mount Union Stadium, unbelievable. After 3 quarters, the Purple Raiders in the semifinal game lead Bridgewater 63-0. And here's quarter number 4. Joe, I'm going to let you do it all by yourself.
Well, Bruni hands off, and fighting his way for yardage is Michael Dietrich, 6'1", 191, a senior from Seven Hills, Normandy. And I know there's one person still watching this on Channel 55, and that is Chris Dietrich, Michael's cousin, with whom I worked last night at a high school telecast up in Brunswick.
And this is your 4th athletic contest in, what, 50 hours?
This will be, when I get through with the Cavaliers tonight,
right.
4 broadcasts in 50 hours.
Well, again, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be at Mount Union Stadium.
Hey, so far so good. Dietrich again, and Dietrich just keeps on driving. First down around the 31-yard line. If the Cavaliers can do tonight what they did last Saturday night in the wake of the win over Wheaton, it will be one heck of a weekend.
There was a point at which you used to talk about that the Cavaliers had a little bit of a streak of their own going when you would do Mount Union games and go to Cleveland. The Cavs would win.
For a number of years. In fact, I know Mike Fratello used to, first thing Mike would ask me when I walked in is, did they win? And we will too. Then things changed. Whoops, little mix up of the backfield, a flag on the turf. And we have the officials trying to sort this one out. It's illegal procedure against Mount Union.
So you had the penalty and the fumble.
Mount Union has outpassed them 261 to 149. And overall have amassed 408 yards to 190. Wow. Going wide to the left. Now we're starting to see some new names and numbers out there. Jason Cavell is in, flanked out wide to the right. Given the backfield is to Dietrich, and Dietrich fights his way down to the 25 and down close to first down yardage at the 21-yard line. So Michael Dietrich pounding his way for yardage. Second down, a yard to go.
Well, Michael Dietrich, who gets called upon to always pick up the tough yardage, because the defenses know that at this point the Raiders are going to keep it on the ground and run clock, and you know they almost know the plays too that they're going to be running. It's just a matter of execution. You got to give Dietrich credit. He picks up tough yards, and he's a good runner. He earned his spurs.
2nd and 1 at the 21.5-yard line. Scott Casto comes out wide to the right. This is Dietrich. He has the first down, I believe. Depends, of course, on the spot, but he's right down there around the 20-yard line, and it is indeed first down and 10 yards to go. Right now, Bruni is the quarterback, but over on the far side, Michael Joris is all ready to come on. We saw him briefly last week. Question is, When is the third string quarterback the backup quarterback? When you use two quarterbacks as first string quarterbacks. There's one of them right now, Zach Bruni. And he and Burkhardt have again today combined for an outstanding effort. Dietrich driving down to the 15 and a fumble, and Bridgewater has it.
Yeah, Dietrich lost it, and it was Adrian Herndon who came up with the football, so the Eagles will get it back. I was just about to say that, you know, Coach Karras is all about snaps, repetitions. And when you've got a dual quarterback system, Bruni Burkhardt, as he has, he'll leave those two quarterbacks in there as long as possible because he wants to get the repetitions. So Bruni was still in the ball game, still handing the ball off, but the Raiders turned it over.
𝘍𝘁 Robinson into the ball game now, 5'8", 189, a junior out of Stowe. In the backfield, Washington greeted before he could get to the 20-yard line.
And for the Raiders on the tackle, 𝘍𝘁. We're starting to see some new numbers and new names. He's a junior linebacker from Blairsville, PA.
Keeps the clock rolling. The ball is at the 15-yard line. Second down and 11 yards to go. Also on now is Josh Rieger, 5'8", 176, a junior from Akron, Hoban. Wakefield throws out that way, right through the hands of the intended receiver, Brett Colbert.
Well, that was a timing pattern. Colbert, though, didn't turn quite in time. Was surprised to see the ball that close. Couldn't come up with the reception.
Third down, 11 yards to go. Mount with a 63-0 win. I think I am safe in saying that. It may not be 63-0 when the game is over, but it's going to be a win and a trip to the Stag Bowl.
And an all-time winning record.
That is true. Wakefield going to fire a deflected ball, and it's caught very nicely. Good presence of mind by Brian Awkward, who was able to get that deflected pass and take it up to the 19-yard line. They'll spot it back at the 18, leave it at fourth down, 9 yards to go, and that is going to bring Patrick King, a sophomore punter out of Fredericksburg, into the ball game.
The Raiders are really doing a nice job getting hands on these passes, getting in the passing lanes, sticking up the paws and knocking them away. Jason McElhaney that time was the one who was responsible for the deflection.
Now time is called by Mount Union with 10:58 to play in the ball game.
You know, I was trying to count the players. There were 11, but the Raiders opted to call for the timeout. They may have been confused a bit.
Jason Cavell and Scott Casto will be the deep men.
I don't know what, you know, if the fourth quarter does not have any points scored in it, does the president still have to do the push-ups?
No, because there will not be any push-ups.
Right, so he gets off the hook.
Somewhere, President Ewing is praying for a fast clock and a defensive standoff in the fourth quarter.
Just a thought.
Ball at the 18-yard line. Punt time for Patrick King. King this afternoon has punted 5 times for an average of just over 31.5 yards. 2 of them have been blocked. King gets this one off, comes downfield, snagged there by Jason Cavell. Cavell running laterally is dropped at the Bridgewater 41-yard line.
Brandon Mays right on top, number 4 on number 4. And the Raiders, who have had excellent field position the entire game, have it again. But they're just going to try to run some plays and run out the clock at this point.
Bruni coming back into the ball game to quarterback with 10:48 to play. Coming out wide to the right is Jason Cavell.
And flags come flying, so this will probably be procedure against Mount Union. Boy, I'll tell you, the Stag Bowl will be an interesting one this year. They're going to start it at 11 a.m. on December the 20th. And ESPN2 making the call on that. But I think they've had the Stag Bowl at night. They've had it in the middle of the afternoon. And it's the first time I can remember that it's going to be late morning. Should not throw off the Raiders.
I think they have log rolling scheduled for 2 in the afternoon, so they want to.
Oh, on television. That's right. We have to work according to the schedule. That's true.
Or refrigerator carrying or something of that nature. 𝘍𝘁 out wide to the right. First down, 15 yards to go after the procedure penalty. And Dietrich at it again. Fights his way down over the 40, down to the 38-yard line. Good second effort by Dietrich, pounding his way for yardage that will take him to second down and about 5-6 yards to go. 10.5 minutes to play in the ball game.
But the fans that do make it down to Salem can always look forward to an alumni party that takes place on the Friday night before at the Wyndham Hotel, which is the headquarters hotel. And that will be the case once again. Always good to renew friendships and talk to former players. That Friday night before the Stag Bowl has been sort of just a great gathering spot for Mount Union faithful.
2nd and 7. Pitch back. Dietrich at the 40 looking for some place to run, but he has no chance as he is buried by Lawrence Fierson and others. 3rd down, 8 yards to go. Loss of a yard of the play. Mount Union will face either St. John's or RPI. Now that RPI is Rensselaer.
That's right.
Polytechnic Institute.
That's correct. Okay. And you know, kind of a newcomer to the Division III realm of playoffs, but they have played very well in the postseason.
RPI might have been Rowan playing incognito or something.
Oh, no.
Give to Dietrich. Dietrich fighting his way down to the 35, 34-yard line. That'll make it 4th down and 3 yards to go.
If it is Mount Union and St. John's, what a great coaching matchup that ends up being, because you've got sort of the Pop Warner and John Ghlardi, who's surpassed everybody on the all-time win list, and then you've got the Newt Rockne and Larry Karras, who's got the best winning percentage in all of college football, and so that coaching matchup makes for a lot of interest. But more importantly, people remember that St. John's gave Mount all they wanted in 2000 in the Stag Bowl with a 10-7 Mount Union victory.
Flare pass outside and charging for a first down at the 30-yard line is Dietrich, who now catches as well as runs. Rooney hit him. First down, 10 yards to go, and the Mount Union Purple Raiders at the Bridgewater 30, leading 63-0. That's good. Virginia is for Raiders.
They had that one ready to go, and yeah, an interesting point made in the truck. Both teams will be heading for Virginia here in the next few days. Bridgewater, I'm sure, and a lot of their players will be interested in watching, as they got so close to the national championship, but then ran into Mount Union in the semifinal game.
Dietrich to the 27 or 28-yard line. Keeps the clock rolling merrily along. Well, I think it's safe to say that if these two teams meet again down the road in the playoffs, Bridgewater will remember this afternoon, because a lot of these guys, as you pointed out, are all underclassmen. They're all going to be coming back, and this Bridgewater club figures just to get better and better.
Now they do, and especially under Mike Clark, who, as we mentioned, this team is nobody had ever heard of Bridgewater as far as football ability, and now they're in the playoffs virtually every year. So yeah, it's just a matter of time.
They send 𝘍𝘁 out to the left. Rooney remains the quarterback. Gives to Dietrich, and Dietrich finds big running room inside the 20, down to about the 17-yard line. That'll be good for another first down, and all of a sudden Dietrich is starting to pile up some serious ground yardage.
Well, he's beyond the 50-yard mark. He's become the second leading rusher in this game. Jeff Strauch had picked up 83 yards.
10 for 56 for Dietrich. Strauch went 20 for 83. First and 10 at the Bridgewater 18-yard line. Still 6:55 to play in this ball game. There's Dietrich dancing his way. Couldn't quite get to the 15 before they wrestled him back. Tackle made there by Jason Turner and others. But there are not a lot of seniors on this ball club, and in fact, your key position players, only one senior out there, and that's Nicholas Leto, one of the wide receivers. Everybody else will be back. They spot the ball just shy of the 50, second down, 8 yards to go. Well, taking as much time off the play clock as they can. It's down to 10 right now as Rooney works behind Dusty Wilson. And here goes Dietrich outside this time at the 10, at the 5, and knocked out of bounds out of the 4-yard line. 5:55 to play. Dietrich just grinds it out. 12 carries, 71 RBIs. He's going to end up as the leading ground gainer in this ball game.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, he gets wide, and Raiders. That's the thing about Mount Union is they play from the time the game starts until the very end. You can't expect any less than 100%. So they're not going to let up. And they've got their second team in there. They've only got 52 guys dressed, so they can't go any deeper than what they've got. And as a result, everybody's still playing hard.
Ball spotted at the 4-yard line. Bruni at quarterback. Give to Dietrich. He fights his way for a yard or two. It'll be second down and goal to go. Well, his cousin Chris, with whom I worked last night on a high school basketball game in Brunswick, is graduating from the University of Akron today, so wish him all the very best. He's up watching his cousin run up and down the gridiron here at Mount.
Must have been one of the wayward ones of the family.
I know. Well, he hurt himself. He was an athlete, and he hurt himself. So
okay, we can excuse him.
Yes. Well, we're going to go for a field goal. Wilders will kick it. He's had extra points longer than this today. Kicking from the 10. And it is up, and it is good, and it is 66-0.
And the idea there, I know there are folks that kind of scratch their heads when this happens, but the idea there is rather than put 6 or 7 on the board, the opportunity is there for Wilders to practice a field goal, and you put 3 on instead. From time to time, you've heard people questioning kicking a field goal late in a game like that, but again, the idea is not to take the knee. That leads to embarrassment of the other team, so probably the easiest way out from the coach's point of view, who does not want to run up the score, is to just kick the 3 and go on defense.
Here comes the Prez. He's got 66 coming up.
Yeah, that's right. He's got his work cut out for him, but I don't have any doubts.
I haven't seen him drop down yet. He's over there with McCaw. He says, how about it, Big Bird? Take it for me, will you? 66-0. Chad Teague will kick. Marcus Washington and Sean Smith are waiting downfield. Well, they've changed that now. Sean Smith is not out there anymore. It's Winston Young. But it's Washington who takes it at the 10. 25, oops, and buried. Ball grabbed at that point by Scott Campbell, a sophomore out of Maslin Perry, but.
And there's an injury. And there's the Prez. He's going at it. Still the early going, but showing a lot of strength.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 for Bridgewater.
In case you're wondering, that dirty snow left over from last week's excellent effort. McCaw now is going to help out a little bit here. Coach Karras came in with a 2:04, 17-3 mark. That will be 2:05 after this one. In his 18th season as head coach, best winning percentage in the history of college football.
Well, they've already lost one man here today to injury, and they're about to lose another one.
Yeah, this one is Sean Smith, a senior. As he was making the return. I may have just gotten the wind knocked out of him. I don't know.
Well, it was Washington who brought the ball back, but Smith was trying to block for him, and he got knocked down. And there's the other injured ball player, Stuart White, who sustained a leg injury and has now been relegated in his final game of his college career to crutches.
And now coming off the field for Bridgewater is Sean Smith. Not putting any pressure on the left leg.
Another senior out of Ashland, Virginia. 66-0 Mount Union with 4:41 to play in the ball game. Jesse Wells out there having a conference with the umpire. Gets down on the defensive forefront. And a new quarterback, a little razzle-dazzle as the new quarterback, Brett Colbert, no, it's Doug Jones. Doug Jones threw it upfield to Brett Colbert, and then Colbert lateraled it, and it goes for a 1st and 10 up at the Bridgewater 36-yard line.
Yeah, Winston Young trailing the play. Gets ridden out of bounds by Josh Rieger.
1st and 10 with 4:25 to play in the ball game.
Watch these players closely for Mount Union. You'll be seeing them as starters probably next year.
Well, a wounded duck thrown downfield by the new quarterback, Doug Jones, a sophomore, 5'9", 170 from Forest, Virginia. He was lucky it just went incomplete. 4:15 to go. Pleased to report that President Ewing completed the 66 push-ups and returned to the stands under his own power.
Like I said, there was no doubt about that.
Jones on the handoff, and driving ahead is Winston Young up over the 40. Down to the 4-minute mark.
Although I got to admit, this had to have been his best effort. I think we've been at this point with this many points. He'll go on the road too and occasionally do these push-ups.
Well, it would be nice to know that at the end of the 3rd quarter down at Salem, Virginia, he can come out and push up about 66 times.
Not probably quite as likely.
I don't think so. I don't think so. They're going to have a real battle on their hands next week. It always is in the Stag Bowl. All right. Jones back to throw, and he is caught from behind. Hustling over to nail him from behind was Dan Wade, a 6'1", 247-pound senior from Chillicothe. So 4th down and 13 yards to go.
Now the protection breaks down after Wade gets through, fighting off the block, and then wraps up Jones. Jones wisely decided to just eat the football there. And Bridgewater's going into punt formation. It looks like Mount's got he's got a Chinese fire drill going on. Now 3 guys. Not sure who should be on, who should be off. And I think they're going to call timeout.
Call timeout to get it sorted out. 2 minutes, 43 seconds to play in the ball game.
Well, there's a flaw they could point to. They've had almost a flawless game, but a couple of timeouts when the punt return team was baffled late in the game.
But baffled by themselves, so they've got to put an asterisk by that flub.
Well, this team so well prepared. They study film. They work hard. Coach Karras does not allow the players nor the coaching staff to let up, and this is the result. In the semifinals again, you've got what will be the best winning streak in the history of college football. You're heading for a 4th consecutive Stag Bowl. that's what hard work results in.
Scott Casto and Jason Cavell are the deep backs, waiting for the punt by Patrick King. He has it. He boots it. It comes to Casto at the 40, 45-50, 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, down the sideline, and he goes out of bounds at the 14-yard line.
And he chose to do it. He had that one. He could have gone the distance. He chose to run out of bounds. Let's take another look. This is an excellent return by Casto. Oh. Yeah, it is Casto. Okay, originally I misread the number on the replay, but it is Casto running down the right sideline. He could cut it upfield right here and just steps on the line.
Now the quarterback is Michael Joris. They're at the 14-yard line. Hands the ball to Dietrich. Dietrich fighting his way down to the 10-yard line with 2:20 to play in the ball game. Making the tackle for Bridgewater is Brandon Mays, a sophomore out of Lynchburg. Well, Dietrich just continues to pile it up. We'll get his numbers here in a moment. He's trotting off the field because Wilders is going to kick another field goal. At least attempt it, and he's going to kick it out of the hold of Joris. Joris down at the 18, ball down, kick up, and it's no good. He finally went wide right and holds the count at 66-0 with 1 minute and 46 seconds to play in the ball game.
So the kick goes wide. Mount Union maintains its 66-0 lead, and now it's just a matter of time. And once again, you know, even though this second half after Mount scored a couple of touchdowns was put away, it still should not diminish the excitement of Mount Union College picking up its 55th consecutive win, breaking its old streak of 54, which had broken the Oklahoma streak of 47 that had lasted for so many years. You just can't minimize the accomplishment of Larry Karras and Mount Union College.
Jones on the handoff to Winston Young. He's up over the 20 to the 22. Dietrich went 14 for 75 yards and played less than half the ball game.
There's the record. Mount Union won and now has 55 games in a row, holding the previous record of 54 consecutive wins. Just unbelievable what has been accomplished in Alliance, Ohio.
Clock down to 1 minute and 10. Jones airs it out. It's caught outside on the right, still on his feet, and then dropped was Nicholas Leto. Ball will be spotted. Good for the first down up at the 33-yard line now with 1 minute and 2 to play.
Santa's in the crowd.
Wearing Purple Raider purple. I think that's
as it should,
nice.
as it should
nice
be.
Touch. Been on a diet. Not the Santa I know and love.
It's the Mike Keating diet.
That's right. Leto in motion. Jones back. Throws over the middle. Another deflected ball. And stops it with 33.1 seconds to go. It was knocked down by Dan Wade, a senior out of Chillicothe, Ohio, that leaves 33.1 seconds to go. Second down, 10 yards to go. Just about everybody's had a chance to see some action here this afternoon. Here is the young man, Jeff Strauch, who led the ground attack today. Pitch back, Winston Young, knocked down at the 32-yard line.
I like the looks of Winston Young. He, as I mentioned, he's a freshman. He goes 5'11", 195, and he runs hard. And assuming everything goes well for Bridgewater, he's going to be exceptional down the road.
Well, that's going to be it. The clock running down to 0. The Mount Union Purple Raiders are headed for the Stag Bowl again with a 66-0 win over Bridgewater here this afternoon. And as always, Harry, great to work with you. Let's hope we can continue it again next week.
Well, Joe, again, our thanks to you. I know you took your time out of a very busy schedule during this playoff run. In fact, on each occasion, the Cavs had a game in the evening, but the fact that you would come down here to Mount Union, help us out, televise these football games, very much appreciated. There's 𝘿𝘰𝘮 walking off the field, the greatest coach in terms of winning percentage of all time. And now Mount Union has won 109 out of 110 and 55 in a row. The streak continues. It's a new streak, and it's an all-time, all-college streak. It's just unbelievable what has happened here at Mount Union under the helm of 𝘿𝘰𝘮. As far as the score by quarters, the way this went for Mount Union, the Raiders started slowly, as they have throughout much of the playoff run, but again, it just took them a couple of series to adjust. There you see the score by quarters, 14 in the first, but then the second quarter, which has been a great quarter for Mount Union all season long, they put up 21 to make it 35-0 at the half, and then a great third quarter as well, adding a field goal in the fourth, so as not to run up the score any further, and Mount Union comes away with a 66-0 win. So Mount's trip to the Stag Bowl has come as the result of a 39-14 win over Wisconsin La Crosse in a game that was hard fought, and that score not even indicative of how close that game was. But the Raiders started the playoff run after getting the bye with that win over La Crosse, then win over previously undefeated Wheaton, 56-10. And then they add to it with a 66-0 win here this afternoon.
I would never have guessed 66-0, not in a million years. You know, as the coach last week said, they made a good football team look bad. And again, the Raiders did it again this week. Again, Harry, thank you very much. See you next year.
Thank you, Joe, and thanks to our image video crew for another great job. Mount Union College football, Purple Raiders win it 66-0. For Joe Tate, I'm Harry Paytas saying so long, everybody, from Alliance.